Hi y'all, good morning. It is early. We're getting an early start today because it's going to be miserable hot. So hopefully you can see me right now because I know we're still low light. But we're going to have some fun today, man, if we get on the fish. We are fishing super shallow water. This area in this creek I'm in, 2 feet, 3 feet out here. So we get some big fish in this water. We're in for a good time. There's going to be some thrashing going on and we're going to have us some fun. And hopefully we're gonna have a lot of fun today because I want to catch a lot of fish. We're going after carp, and keep your fingers crossed, keep that lucky rabbit's foot in your hand today. We're gonna try to get us some buffalo too, using a new mixture here with the pack bait. So hopefully we're gonna draw in some buffalo if they're here. But I'm gonna put y'all on the chest. We're gonna get baited up. We're gonna get started today, y'all. We ain't got no time to waste on a day like today where it's just gonna be miserable. In the dog days of summer right here in August, man, it's just every day 90 degrees and sweltering hot. So let me show you my rig here. If you're new to my channel or new to my carp and buffalo videos, let me show you our rig here. This is, first off, these rods, just a light action catfish rod from Catfish Sumo, the original chopstick. I've got 30-pound braid on a 4,000 size Daiwa reel there. That's a Daiwa BG 4000. This goes down to a method feeder, just a cheapo wire Amazon job there. We're going to put pack bait around it. And then below the method feeder, we've got a number 6 size hook. And this one here has a couple pieces of pink colored fake corn on there. But we're going to put a bait on the hook as well as having the corn right there is also an additional bait for these fish. So now the pack bait mixture, a little bit different today. I'm going to get it on here on this feeder and I'll tell you kind of what I've done. I've been using soybean meal the last couple trips out. It's been a work in progress trying to get the mixture correctly to make it pack. It definitely doesn't pack as well as the panko and the breadcrumbs. It doesn't have that kind of gripping ability. I don't know how to say it, but you know what I mean. Like, it don't pack on the feeders as good. But today we're using soybean meal. I've got cream style corn in here. I've also got a can of pineapple because I've been told that the buffalo really like pineapple. And so I've put some, basically a can of pineapple in here. There's some pineapple chunks. And then there's basically what I really wanted out of that can of pineapple was the juice in there, the flavoring. I was trying to find some pineapple here to show you the size of the chunks. I got I think it's called the tidbits, pineapple tidbits, and this one's covered in soybean meal, but it's just a small piece of pineapple. I'm gonna stick that on the hook of this one. You think that'll hold on that hook? I think it feels pretty good on there. I think that'll make it. So we're going to put a piece of pineapple along with our pack bait and our pink fake corn on this one. Now I'm going to get these baits cast out, and I'll tell you what's unique about this particular creek that we're going to be in today. What do you know? That soybean meal there held on the hook pretty good on that throw. So we'll get that one out. Let's get our other two. We're going to use these other two, we're going to use the same pack bait mixture. Again, it's soybean meal, cream style corn, pineapple, and I've also got some Jello mixture in here in the lime flavor. So different mixture, different combination of stuff than I've ever used before, but we'll see how it goes. We'll try it out today. It's just a work in progress. We're all learning here. I don't claim to be no carp or buffalo expert. I for damn sure ain't no buffalo expert. I feel like it's just blind luck if I get on one of them. But in addition on this one, and instead of just using the pack bait, we got the yellow corn on the hair rig of this hook. We're going to throw on some worms on this one. I have had pretty good success this year with the worms. Now I've got some live red worms here. I'd been using night crawlers, but unfortunately Walmart's night crawler selection yesterday was not good. They were all dead. every container I opened. The red worms, though, looked okay. Although I think that one in my hand might be dead. He's still at least plump. Now, I guess he's alive. You put a hook through him, that woke him up a little bit right there. But I'm going to put him on. We'll get him on the hook. I'm just going to run that hook through a couple times. We're going to scatter these rods here. I'm going to try to fish with 3 rods. We may go down to 2 in here at some point. And just kind of put some distance between these baits best we can. When these fish take off, and this water's so shallow in here, when they take off, they're going to run. And so we may have to end up going down to 2 rods if we get on a good bite. Until they get to biting good, I want as much bait out as possible just to try to get in front of one. But right now, I'd like to get these things out here before the dang sun pops up and runs us off the water. It's just been miserable lately, man. The heat and the humidity has been so bad. It's going to be another day over 90 degrees here in East Tennessee, and it's supposed to be, well, it ain't supposed to be. I can tell you it is. It's humid as all get out here this morning. I already feel like I'm in a sauna, and the sun ain't even up, so we're going to fish fast today. We're going to get our fishing done, have us some fun, and be off the water before it gets miserable. Let's put us another worm on this. And we're going to go the pineapple chunk on 1 and worms on 2 until we see the fish tell us that they want something different. Good news is, I think my pack bait mixture, it seems to be holding on the feeder a little better. The last couple times I tried soybean meal, I felt like it was a little too dry. It doesn't pack particularly good anyway. But my mixture, I was off on my mixture. It was too dry. And I think maybe the can of pineapple I used is a little bigger. So I think that's maybe helped. And also, here's the other thing too. I didn't put as much soybean meal in the bag this time. It's kind of been it's a work in progress. Again, some of you doo-doo out there, it don't stink. You try something new and, well, you're experts at it on day 1. Me, takes a little while usually. All right, y'all, we got all 3 lines baited. Took a little while, but we got them all out. Again, the 2 on the right have the yellow fake corn and worms. The one on the left here, pink corn and the pineapple chunk, if it survived the cast and hitting the water. It felt like it was pretty firm on the hook, like it wasn't going to just fall right off. So that's the first time I've ever tried hooking pineapple. But I'd got that tip there from a commenter in the YouTube comment box, said that buffalo really like pineapple. I'd also heard about the lime jello flavoring and the soybean meal. Like, I'm getting all these tips in the comment box, and yet since I've started using the soybean meal and the lime jello flavoring, you know how many buffalo I've caught? 0, zilch. Caught some carp though. The last carp session, and I was using soybean meal and a lime flavoring then, in addition to some corn and some worms. But I got some good carp. I got some like really good quality carp. So anyway, y'all, we're gonna go raw and uncut today, unedited, because this is gonna be a 3-4 hour trip at the most today, just because it's gonna be so dang hot. So I'm gonna leave y'all, I'm gonna leave the camera running. Y'all gonna be my fishing buddies out here today, start to finish, man. We're in this together. Me and you, rod goes down, reel that thing in for me, I'll net it for you. If I'm reeling in a fish, I'd expect you to come through that camera and grab this dang net. I can't ever get y'all to do anything on this video. But what I'm gonna do is put y'all here in the chest, so that way y'all can watch these rods here. The sun is gonna come up, I think, over here behind us. And if it does, I've fished this place a couple times, but I ain't fished here in a long time. Pretty sure it's that direction. If it does, we'll hopefully have some shade here first thing this morning by these trees. So that's what I'm hoping for. But this creek, it's kind of, let me just kind of explain where we're at here in this creek. So this is a confluence area where two creeks come together. There's a smaller creek back here. Once you see back there to where the land is, that creek goes to the left and it is super narrow. I mean, I'm talking just, you could lay across that thing and be touching ground, man. It's 5 or 6 foot wide back there, past where you can see on the land. That one comes in and meets this one over here, which is a little bit bigger creek. And this one over here only has flow if we got rain, like heavy rain. This one over here normally has a little bit of flow anyway. Now, we ain't had no rain lately, so there ain't really nothing moving over there. You can see the water's kind of stagnant here. It's just setting still. So we're not, oh, right there was a buffalo right here in front of us. I saw him come up right then. I was looking that way and he come up. That's a good sign. That is a good sign right there. But anyway, that creek normally has some flow. It's a little bit bigger and it meets this one here and creates this kind of wider open area. Once you get over here, the creek it's wider than it is back here, but it's still not super wide. It's very shallow. It's 3-4 foot deep all the way out till you get out here toward the main channel. Then it gets a little bit deeper. But the big thing with this particular area and why I'm setting up here is this nice big open area where these two creeks come together. It kind of gives, you know, for carp fishing purposes, it's going to give these fish a place to run and allow us to hopefully tame them before they get into stuff. Like over here, there's a tree sticking up out of the water. I don't know if you can see. And all up and down this creek this way and stuff, there's all these overhanging trees and debris in the water. And so I feel like this area here kind of gives us a chance for not only to be able to hook some fish, but to hopefully be able to land them without getting snagged and everything. So anyway, that's kind of the motivation, the rationale behind setting up here in this particular creek. Now, ideally, I wouldn't mind if, I mean, again, we ain't had enough rain to really get that creek over there flowing, but if we did, we'd have just a little bit of current over there and maybe disperse our scent for these rods that we've cast out this direction. Maybe it could get the kind of the crumbs and the scent kind of going downstream so that fish down below us could hopefully come up and find those baits. But I don't think we're going to have that luxury out here this morning. I think it's just kind of going to be dependent upon fish working through this area and finding our baits. So it may take a little while. Oftentimes on these carp trips, I've mentioned numerous times, it will take 30 minutes to an hour oftentimes to get that first bite, because when I come through an area like this creek, for instance, I come from the main channel up, I'm spooking all them fish that I'm running over with the motor, right? Like they're hearing that motor in this shallow water, they're skedaddling. And I tried to be as stealthy as I could. Like the area we've cast our baits, I didn't motor over. Like I come around the corner here and just water deep enough to get over here, basically. And so I tried not to get over here in the area we're casting baits, but still, I did make some noise between setting up the kayak here, dropping the anchor poles down. Obviously, we're throwing these baits out here. That splash is hitting the water. Like it's, we're making some noise. And so we could possibly spook some fish. And sometimes it takes 30 minutes to an hour. The last carp session, it took about an hour to get the first fish, but then it really got going. And so y'all may have to bear with me a little bit here. I got plenty of stories to tell you, so we'll have some fun today. But this bite, it may, if we get on a bite here, and if you're seeing this, good news, we caught something. Well, we caught several, or else you wouldn't be seeing, oh boy, right here, right off the bat. Did you see that? Oh, is he coming at me? Oh, look at him go, man. He was coming right at me. Well, so much for taking an hour. So much for taking an hour, folks. Right here off the bat, just a few minutes in, and he is He's going right back here behind us in the dang trees. I got to get him this way. I can't get control of this thing. This water's so shallow again, oh, he's around my power pole. Oh man, he's rubbing that line over the power pole. Now he's over here on the other side of us. This fish is wild, y'all. Get control of your fish, would you? This first one here's lost his dang mind. There he comes. Thankfully, he didn't run laps around the poles. This one's out of control, y'all. Okay, buddy. A few minutes in and we're already hooked up. That is a good sign. This pleases me much, y'all, very much. Yes, it's a carp. I keep hoping to get on some buffalo with all these concoctions we're mixing up with the various pack bait mixtures. The mixture I had used for the last couple years has worked incredibly well. And it's hard for me to get away from that, but we're trying different things to try to increase our buffalo catches. My pole's come undone, y'all, bear with me. This mud that we're in is very soft. So we're gonna be fighting these anchor poles all day. Every time I shift my weight, every time you shift butt cheeks in your seat watching this video, we're gonna be working our poles free. Come here, carp. That's a good one, buddy. How about that for number one? How about that for number one, man? I'll take it. I'm happy with that. We got us a common here. Numero uno. That means one in Spanish for those of you that's maybe not familiar. That's about the extent of my Espanol. What have we done now? We done got that hook in the net too, I reckon. Lord, y'all, what have you done? Y'all did a poor job netting that fish. Oh, easy, easy. Don't hook that net again there, fish. We just got that part undone. Okay, we got our hook out there. Okay, y'all, let's set up here in the front seat, would you? Since this is fish number one, we will see if we can't get a little action shot here with this fish. Make his day. He freaking nailed it, didn't he? And then turned around and was coming right at us. I couldn't hardly catch up with the dang thing. Nice start right there. See you, buddy. Thanks for not taking all day to bite. You're really helping out the cause with this video stuff. I'm trying my best to train these fish. They don't listen to me much. These poles, we're gonna fight the poles more than we fish today, I promise you that. This mud is just super soft. Anytime you get super soft mud like that. Oh, this fish, he gave us a refund. He said he's too good for that worm. He said he didn't want that worm. He said he wanted a night crawler. He wanted a Canadian night crawler. He wasn't having no red worm. So he just spit it out and gave it back. It's all right, we'll throw that on the hook too, along with another one. Man, where we at on time, y'all? That's awesome, man, first 20 minutes. You know, I flapped my gums through getting the baits out, so that did not take long. Like I feel like that's a really good sign. I always like to give the warning that it may take a while. So for those of you that for some reason clicks on a 4-hour, 3-hour, 2-hour, however long video it is, thinking this is going to be just fish catching the whole damn time, I don't know why you're clicking on the video. But I try to just give people a forewarning. This is a real fishing trip, y'all, and sometimes you own them right from the start, and sometimes you ain't. Sometimes it takes time. But we are off to a great start here now. This soybean meal is really mixing up better. I think the pineapple juice, just that extra juice in there. I feel like that, coupled with the fact that I didn't put as much soybean meal in the bag this time, really helping our cause here. Be able to pack this stuff on. I've really thrown off a lot of it the last couple trips, like throwing it off on the cast. We'll throw this other piece of worm on there too, just because. Why not, you know? The other fish don't want it, maybe one of his friends will. No point in wasting that old worm. Okay. Well, let's throw this one back over there. I did see that one buffalo come up. Okay, it's back out. Loosen and drag a smidge. Here's the other thing that we've got to do today, y'all. Hopefully do anyway. We'll need y'all's help with this. We need to find us a smaller size carp. And I know that's difficult because most of these carp are 5 pounds minimum. You rarely ever catch a small carp. And even when you do catch a small one, it's like 3 pounds. You never catch a 1 pounder. I don't anyway. But the smallest carp we get today, that one there we just got it was bigger than what I would want for this, but we need to keep one because my original plan for today was not going to be carp fishing. I had planned on going catfishing, but I went out yesterday on a bait run and I spent 6 hours on the water. I actually hit 2 different bodies of water, hit 3 different spots that had either produced recently or had produced this time of year in years past. And you know how much bait I got? I got us 1 skipjack and 1 white bass in 6 hours. It was the Dead Sea. There was just nothing going on. And so I was like, well, I don't guess we're going catfishing today if we ain't got but 2 baits. So we'll come out here, we'll do some carp fishing today. And we get us a smaller one, smaller, or if we get some kind of bycatch that's reasonable size, I'll be honest with you, I ain't opposed if we get some of them damned old channel cats that's yay big, I'll throw them in the cooler. If we get a drum, it'll go in there. Whatever we get, I need something to bait a catfish hook with tomorrow. And we'll add it to our white bass and skipjack, and because I've been on a pretty good catfish bite, and I want to keep that going, but just wasn't going to happen for us today. And I didn't have any. I thought about going on another bait run today, just hitting some different spots, but hell, after yesterday, I don't have any great deal of confidence that today was going to be any better. They've just disappeared. I don't know where the hell the skipjack's at. I got on some. I filmed a bait run recently, and I was catching a few there, but that bite's gone, and I don't know where the hell they've gone, and it wasn't very good anyway. Like, I was really having to grind to get what I was getting. I don't know where they've gone, and the skipjack that I typically get, oh, I got a little tap, middle rod. Something tugged on that worm right there, y'all. Something's got it. I see my line swimming out there. We got it. This one here don't feel very big. This one here may go in the dang bait cooler. This fish, he's made a terrible mistake. He realized it when he felt the hook, and he's really gonna realize it when he's in the cooler. I think this might be one of them channel cats. Actually, that's a blue cat. Old blue kitty up in here. I'll let him go. He's the size of some of the channel cats I would expect to get in a creek like this, but it is a blue. We are probably, I'm terrible at judging distances. I would say we're probably a half a mile away from the main river channel. So we're fairly close to some deeper water access. And this creek here, there'll be big catfish move in this creek, I guarantee it, because it's got bait in it. Like I've seen, I mean, hell, out here this morning, you can see there's shad flipping back up in here. So, I mean, there's food for these catfish to come up in here and feed, in addition to the carp and buffalo and stuff like that. Oh, he's about to poop. Look at that. He's about to duty all over. Get out of here, you old nasty thing. That old fish, these fish today, they got a bad attitude, I can tell. I should have, you know, if he wanted to doo-doo on us like that, I should have thrown that blue cat in the cooler. I didn't want to do it. If he'd been a channel cat that size, we'd have probably thrown him in there, but I was going to show mercy on that blue cat, and he tried to take a crap on us. Anytime you show mercy, anytime, it always comes back to bite you. You got to go, in this life we're living, folks, in this day and age, you got to go Cobra Kai mentality. Strike first, strike hard, no mercy. If you show mercy, undoubtedly you're going to get doo-dooed on, both literally and figuratively. And that fish tried to do it literally. We've still got that dead worm on there. There's something about that worm, none of them fish want it. Let's see if we can get rid of some of that dirt in that tub there. Find some of these worms. There we go. Red worm getting it done. They're fairly plump. I mean, they're obviously not as big as a night crawler, but I feel like they're, at least diameter wise, they're fairly large worms for their length. Well, something about this middle rod's been in the right place. Let's try to get it out there in the same general area again. 2 fish in a few minutes. I'll tell you, buddy, it's a good sign. Stick our worms back up here. I apologize, y'all. I got the fancy microphone on today, so hopefully it's drowning most of the noise out. But there is a major road right here behind us, so you may be hearing some of them cars and stuff as they go by. Unfortunately, it's a busy road, especially right here at the time of day when most people's going into work and stuff. Technically, me and you's out here working right now. We're about to work these fish over. We're going to work some jaws today. That's what we're going to do. But yeah, man, we gotta keep something today. And if we get toward the end of the trip, when it starts getting really hot, and I'm about to go, and if we ain't got a smaller size carp by then I'll just end up keeping one of the big ones and using it. I don't like doing that, but, and it ain't that I'm against keeping a carp of any size. I just don't like cutting the damn things. They're just so difficult, such a pain in the butt to try to cut up. They're just scales and bones, and I did get me, last night there I'd stopped at the Walmart, get them worms and some pineapple there. And so I got me a fish scaler, because people have suggested that if you remove the scales from a carp before you cut it, the process will go a lot easier. And I have to believe it would, because them scales, they're so thick, and there's so many of them, they're so big, it's hard to cut through. But that's why I don't use carp more often. It's just because it's such a nuisance to cut up. So Desperate times, desperate measures, though. Lord knows when you and I go fishing together on these videos, I can't get y'all to ever bring any bait with us. I get stuck having to supply everything out here. Y'all need to do better, I'll tell you that. Hopefully, wherever the hell you're at watching this right now, hopefully you're having an easier time catching bait than I am. Because it's been like this. Well, the spring spawning run went well. Like, I was on them in the spring. There was a large number of skipjack that made their run upriver like they always do. No problem, easy. Catching skipjack easy in the spring. Normally, though, I will follow those. Look right here, middle rod. They got another little tap. Something gave it the tug. The tug without the rub. Let's see if it's about to go down. I can't hardly see my line with the light right now, but the rod tip moved. I don't think he's got it. Y'all keep watching that rod just in case. But with skipjack, normally I will follow them when they stop, when their spawning run ends and they start making their way back downriver. I can follow them. Something's still over at that rod. My line is slack. We're gonna pick up on this thing. If we feel weight on it, I want you to jerk this hook for me, okay? I want you to set it good. I want you to put the steel to the jaw. The heel to the steel, as Roscoe P. Coltrane would say on Dukes of Hazzard. He ain't on there. Ain't nothing there. All right. He might have tried to eat that worm that none of them other fish would take. I hope he didn't get the other worm off. He kind of tugged it pretty good there that first time. But yeah, y'all, I mean, when the spawning run ends, I'll follow them skipjack back downriver, and they normally, hold on, airplane man's going over. Where do you think they're heading to today? I don't know, looking at the sky, if the sun's coming up from the east, that means they're going west. Let me try to think about where the next major, I bet they're heading to Dallas. I'm trying to think of where, if you book a flight out of Knoxville, normally you're going to connect in Charlotte, Atlanta, Dallas if you're going west. It's probably Dallas, I bet. But yeah, I'll follow them skipjack downriver. And what they typically do, as they make their way back downstream, they will hang out in the main channel in front of creek mouths. And I think they just work in and out of them creeks to feed, but they'll be kind of in the main channel usually, staged up out there. You'll be catching them out over deep water in front of the creeks. Something's still working that rod. My line's just a jumping right there. I'm gonna just, we got something. It may be another dang channel cat, but we got something. Something wanted that worm over there, didn't it? This one here, he's had a bad day, folks. His day's gone bad to work. He's so dang small. Hell, I don't even hardly want to use this one for bait. We couldn't even get any meat on this one. He's so small. At least he ate that dead worm right there. It's finally going. Yeah, that's too small. Tell your friends I've showed mercy today, Channel Cat. I want the world to know what a humanitarian I am today. It's good karma letting that fish go. I shouldn't have, but I should have threw him in the cooler just for being a nuisance to us, but stealing our bait. We're trying to get carp and buffalo today. Ain't got no time for no dang channel cats. Can't stand them things. I will admit I like catching them pretty good up there at Sandusky Bay, where they're significantly bigger in size. But the ones around here, not so much. Yeah, I'll admit too, the soybean meal, it's still a mess on your hands. It doesn't come off as easily as the breadcrumbs does, but it is easier to work with today with the amount of liquid I put in there. Put this another worm on. Okay, we're ready to cast back out. One thing about this though, I'll tell you, as many times as we have thrown out in this kind of general area over here now, because that's 3 fish caught, so this is the 4th time we've cast out, there should be a lot of soybean meal and corn and jello and stuff over there in that area. So we're creating a big chum pile, and every time we cast to it, we're just adding more. So as fish work through, they're gonna have a lot to eat over there, and hopefully it will keep them there and get them feeding in that area. It's weird how neither one of these other 2 rods has been touched, but that one has. Maybe just the right spot, I don't know. But yeah, them skipjack, they'll just kind of hang out in front of the creeks, and you can follow them. Like they'll be, as they make their way downriver, they'll hang out in front of this creek for a couple weeks, 3 weeks, and then some of them skipjack will stay there, and the huge school will keep making their way downriver, and they'll go to the next major creek, and they'll be there for a little while. And then some of them will stay and the rest will move on. And you can just follow them all the way down through spring, summer, fall, just the whole time. And this year, I just have not been able to, my timing's been off, I reckon. That's the only thing I can figure, my timing has been off. And I just can't find them. So, I blame myself more than anything. Now, some people have suggested, well, there just ain't many skipjack left, and I don't know if that's true or not. They get hit hard in the spring. That's a fact. Skipjack fetch a pretty penny around here at the bait stores and the bait dealers. So when they're easy to catch in those spring spawning runs, the bait dealers just wear them out. Me, I hit the spawning run too, but I go and I catch enough for me to fish with for a couple days, and then that's it. Then bait dealers are taking them out as many as they can get. And I know that has to affect them some. And then I'm sure there's other things too that just affect the quality of the spawn, right? Like sometimes you're gonna have bad weather or bad water conditions, and just it's gonna be down years for them. But I don't know if that's the case or not, honestly. I think it's probably just me being at the wrong place at the wrong time, or the right place at the wrong time. It's just, either way, regardless of the reason, I ain't on them, and I ain't been on them, and it's frustrating. So we're going to use some alternative baits. And the catfish bite has at least picked up. It too was off this year. Usually by about the 2nd week of July, definitely as you get later into July, you'll start catching more fish that are beat up just from the spawn. Like they'll have spawning marks on them where they've defended their nest. And this year, I mean, we were into August before I got my first fish that I saw was just beat up, that had marks on it. And so the catfish spawning seems to be a little, the timing seems to be a little off on it this year too. But the post-spawn bite is going well now. And so my last 3 catfish sessions have been pretty good. I've gotten good numbers of fish. I've gotten good quality fish. And I was hoping to be reeling in a catfish right now, today. I'm fully content with catching some carp and some buffalo if we can get them. But I sincerely did anticipate going catfishing today had I been able to get bait yesterday. But we'll keep a carp or something today and throw that in with our 1 skipjack and white bass and hopefully go get on some cats tomorrow. I don't know where I'm going to go yet exactly. We'll see how much bait we get. I kind of want to make a run. Well, here's what I've been wanting to do. I've been wanting to go down to Alabama because I got a tournament coming up next month here in September. We've got a tournament down there on Wheeler Reservoir down there in Alabama, and I want to go down there and pre-fish a little bit, practice a little bit. But I want to go down there with bait. I don't want to have to go down there and rely on catching bait because of the drive. I don't want to drive that far and then potentially not even get to fish because I can't get no skipjack there either. So I'd like to load up a cooler full and then go, but I can't get a dang cooler full loaded up to do it. So I've been fishing around here the last few sessions with the limited bait that I've been able to get. I've prior to yesterday was at least able to get some white bass, which we can use here in Tennessee. Now you can't in Alabama. So it ain't like I could, even if I got on another white bass bite, it ain't like I could load up on those and take them down there. It's going to have to be skipjack down there. So, but I want to do that. I'm wanting to get back down to Chickamauga at some point too. I was on a good bite down there before the spawn started. Now I'm sure if it's wrapped up here, then farther south you go, it's going to have wrapped up quicker down there. So I want to get back down there and try some stuff out. But again, if I'm going to drive that far, I want to make sure I've got a sufficient amount of quality bait. So we'll get back on them eventually. It's a matter of time. But probably the last month or so here, it's just been very difficult, very frustrating. More frustrated with myself for not being able to figure out the puzzle. Sure, you'll have a bad day, you might have a bad week, but the slump shouldn't be lasting this long. Especially with as much time as I've put in trying to get bait. So, kind of frustrated with myself a little bit more than the fish. But the good thing is, I'm one of those fishermen that's not really, I like catfishing, obviously. That's what I spend the bulk of my time throughout the year doing. But I'm not a one-hit wonder. While I love fishing for catfish, that's not all I do. So if times get hard and I can't catch bait, or maybe the catfish bite ain't very good, I can do other things. I can come out and go carp fishing. I can grab my ultralight rod, go ultralight fishing. I got this live scope that I still 2 years later can't hardly operate, but you get in the winter months, I can take it out and try to catch some crappie with it or something. I got other options if I can't catch bait or the catfish ain't biting good. It's not just, well, I guess I just won't go fishing today situation. I can go do something. So that's good at least. But it is exciting that the catfish bite is kind of getting going again, and it will get better all the way up from now through September, October, November. It'll just get better and better. The fish are going to be their skinniest right now, fresh off the nest. And as they put that weight back on, they're going to really pack it on next 2 or 3 months here leading up to winter. So it's just going to get better and better. Yeah, I got to get ready for that tournament. And then we're going to go to Louisiana after that in October. And I'm probably going to make that a 1 to 2 week trip down there, just because it's such a long drive. I think what I'm going to do is I want to go down there obviously leading up to the tournament, because the catfishing's really good down there, and I've never fished there before, so I kind of need to have a plan come tournament time. So I definitely want to be down there before the tournament. But I don't know, it'll really depend on weather, I guess, weather conditions, water conditions. But I thought about either going down 2 weeks early and then fishing the tournament and then coming home, or possibly going down like a week early, getting ready for the tournament, and then driving on down, doing some saltwater fishing. There was a splash right over there beside us, kind of big. I didn't see it, but it may have been a carp right over there. But yeah, may do some saltwater fishing down there. I mean, when in Rome, right? So I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. It's not so much that I just don't want to do. I mean, I want to go down there. I want to go down there for an extended amount of time, and I want to do both fresh and salt water. The challenge for me is hauling multiple kayaks down there. This kayak here, fine for freshwater, middle rod again, my line's slack. It went slack, it popped a little bit. I hope it ain't another dang channel cat. Sometimes buffalo bite real weird like that. I think something had, my line keeps moving, y'all. If I feel weight, I'm gonna jerk his jaw. You tell me if I need to do it. Yeah, we do. We need to jerk it. Got him. What do we got? I don't know. I think it's another cat. I was trying to talk myself into it being a buffalo, with them being kind of funny biters like that. Oh, whatever he was, he's gone now. He just popped free. Y'all let that one go. Quick release on him. I assume it was a cat. I don't see slime on my line, but I have to assume the way he was fighting felt like a cat. Left our worm on. Got a refund on the worm at least. I'll stick another one on there anyway. Let's pack that around there. These feeders, I think I mentioned there, I got a link for them down in the video description there. They're cheap Amazon jobs. These aren't like the high-tech carp, the ones you'll find like in a carp gear catalog or something. Like they're coil wire spring basically that you can pack around. Nothing fancy. Some of them European carp fishermen, they try to get their, well, that worm's still alive on that hook. He was still moving right there. We'll just send him back out then. I won't even put another one on. But some of them European carp fishermen, they want their method feeders to look like rocks. They try to be all stealth and stuff. Stealthy. They want them to look like something that they would be on the creek bottom or river bottom or lake bottom, whatever they're fishing. The carp here, they're so unpressured, like they don't see a hook. Most of these carp where I live will go their entire lives without ever seeing or feeling a hook. So they don't care about that stuff. Like you don't have to be all stealthy with the carp here. I mean, you need to be stealthy as far as being quiet when you're in shallow water, not making a bunch of noise. Like you'll spook those fish if you're making a bunch of racket. But as far as your rigs, your baits, everything I've used for carp, I've caught fish with. Everything. I mean, everything. There's not been a bait yet that I've tried and can't catch fish on at some point. Now, our last trip, I tried some cherry tomatoes, and I didn't catch a single fish on them. But I've caught them on cherry tomatoes in the past. Earlier this year, I got on some with unripened cherry tomatoes. They were just still green. Last year, I was using red, got on some fish, both carp and catfish. But it just didn't happen on that last trip for us. But I mean, it's just, they're not too picky. You just need to get in front of them more than anything. But yeah, when I go to Louisiana, so I currently own 2 kayaks. I have this one, which is my Hobie Pro Angler, got the bow mount motor, fancy electronics, you know, all the bells and whistles. And it's fine for fresh water. But you wouldn't want to take it out in the ocean. The bow mount's not saltwater rated. It takes the weight of the bow mount up there on this kayak doesn't do particularly well in choppy water, which you're going to experience in the ocean. So it just ain't ideal. My other kayak's the Old Town Big Water pedal kayak. And it is made, I mean, it's the name of the kayak is the Big Water. So, I mean, it's made for large bodies of water, rough conditions, like ocean-like conditions. Like it's a lot of guys that fish the ocean use that specific model because that's kind of what it's designed for. But what I don't want to do is have to take both kayaks down there. I just don't have a good way to transport 2 of them. And so it's kind of a choice. Do I want to either limit myself in the tournament, take my pedal kayak, be able to do the ocean fishing, do whatever I want, but limit my range in the tournament by not having the motor? Or do I want to take this kayak, have I won't say unlimited range in the tournament, but certainly at least my normal distance I can cover in a tournament, I'll still be able to do that, but be limited in the salt as far as where I can go, what I can do. It's kind of a, it's one of them things. I don't know the correct answer. Part of it will probably depend on how the September tournament goes for me down there on Wheeler. Because right now I'm in the points lead for Angler of the Year. And if I get one more win, it's mine for sure. But if I get a top 3, then even that will probably seal the deal for me. I mean, it's not impossible for somebody to pass me. If Ryan or Adam, if either one of those guys could get a win in big fish, and if I just completely crap the bed the next 3 tournaments, they're going to have a chance. But if I could do well at Wheeler, then it wouldn't matter if I didn't have a high finish down there in Louisiana. So then maybe that opens it up for me to take the pedal kayak, because even though my range would be limited, I would still I may not do as good as I wanted to do in the tournament, but I wouldn't have to worry about the Angler of the Year stuff as much. So I don't know. We'll see how the September tournament goes before I make a decision on that. I may very well have a different kayak before then too, before the Louisiana one anyway. The bona fide kayak, it's honestly more of a damn plastic John boat than it is a kayak. It's getting ridiculous what they're calling kayaks these days. I'm honestly a little frustrated with the industry, how it's gone, but it is coming out, I believe, sometime in September. And I'm probably going to get that to be my tournament boat / YouTube boat, just because they've put some thought into the design of not only having a heavy bow mount motor on the front, but also they've put some thought into how the kayak is going to shed water when you're in that choppy-like conditions and you've got the weight of the bow mount up there. You oftentimes go over one wave and plow through the next, which causes water to come over. I've gotten in some bad situations with this kayak where I get water inside the hull because the kayak kind of leans forward in the front a little bit, just the amount of weight I got up there. This kayak just isn't designed to have a bow mount motor on it. They make mounts for them. You know, they make it possible for you to put a bow mount up there, but the kayak, when they designed this kayak, it was not intended to have 40 pounds sitting on the nose of it. You know, like that just wasn't how it was supposed to be. So you take on water, you get it in the hatch, it fills up, it can be rough conditions. That bona fide kayak is, at least, while it's a damn battleship of a kayak, I'm a kayak fisherman. Like, I enjoy fishing out of a kayak. This thing here that I'm in, this Hobie Pro Angler, is way too big for what I like. It's fun to catch fish, don't get me wrong, but it's way more fun if you're in a smaller vessel. There was another buffalo right there. I saw him right up there in front of us, in front of our middle rod. He's out there. I want a buffalo today, man. We know they're here. I've seen buffalo now twice, maybe the same one, but I've seen him. He's around that bait. If he don't eat this daggone pineapple and soybean meal and lime jello, I'm gonna lose some confidence in it. Because y'all have swore up and down in that comment box that's what I need to be doing. But anyhow, I like kayak fishing, man. I don't fish out of a kayak. A lot of people think, well, you fishing out of a kayak because it's like a poor man's boat. It ain't these days, man. Kayaks have gotten so damn expensive. It ain't a poor man's sport anymore. I mean, you can still keep it cheap. You can get you a used kayak, a few years old, a paddle version of a kayak. You can get that $400 or $500. But if you want something top of the line, brand new coming out, like you're gonna pay for it, buddy. It's gonna pay a premium. But I enjoy kayak fishing. But the industry has swung so far in the direction of stability. They're making these just monstrous kayaks, and it really takes the fun away of catching fish in the kayak. But ultimately what I want is one of each. I want one kayak that's smaller, that I can go out and have my fun in. And I want another kayak that has all the bells and whistles, can handle a variety of water and a variety of conditions. So that way, if I travel somewhere and I'm fishing a tournament and the weather's bad, and maybe we've got a lot of chop, or we've got high winds, or whatever, I want a kayak that I can handle it in, and I can do whatever technique I need to do to try to be successful in the tournament. So I want that. I want one of each. And I think that bona fide is going to give me, it's at least hopefully going to solve the problem that I have in this one, which is taking water over the bow. The other thing it will solve, and that I really want more than anything, is the ability to turn around and fish off the back of the kayak. I don't care right now, this time of year, when it's blazing hot, it doesn't matter. But in the wintertime, and some of y'all are hearing a rerun here, because I've told this before, but in the wintertime, if I'm catfishing and I'm using that motor to spot lock, the motor's going to turn into the wind. So the wind is then blowing in your face. Well, if you get a wind blowing in your face, it feels much colder than what it does if you've got a hood over your head and it's blowing into your back. So I would like the opportunity to turn around and fish backwards off the kayak. And that Bonafide does have a 360 seat, which will allow me to do that. So that kayak is supposed to come out sometime in September, last I had heard. So with our Louisiana tournament taking place in October, it's possible I may have a different kayak by then. Our Wheeler tournament is September, I think it's the 14th. 14th or 15th, whatever. It's like 2 weeks into September, whatever the Saturday is. That's our Wheeler tournament. So I doubt, even if the Bonafide comes out before then, I doubt I could get one and get it rigged up and get it ready to go before the Wheeler tournament. But I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to get a more powerful motor for it. Most of the other guys in the kayak catfishing tournament trail scene have gone with 24 volt motors. I've got a 12 volt up here, 55 pound thrust. And in flat calm conditions, I can get about 4.5 miles an hour. Those guys running 24 volts, they're getting 6 to 7 miles an hour. Does that make a big difference? Not so much while you're actively fishing, because you're not fishing for catfish at 6 to 7 miles an hour. But what it does do is it expands your range, allows you to go farther in less time. If you make a long run in a tournament, it allows you to be able to get back to the launch a little quicker. The 24 volts are also better, they're more battery efficient. So your batteries, for me to go 4.5 miles an hour in this one, I'm maxed out on speed, so my battery's done very quickly. You get that 24 volt, you go 4.5 miles an hour on it, well, you're running a little over 50% of your motor, like you're 50% power. So your battery goes so much farther. And it does add weight. Those 24 volt motors are heavier. You get a 24 volt lithium battery, it's heavier, so you're putting more weight in. But when you get a kayak that's this heavy, or one that's heavy as I think that Bonafide's 170 something pounds, like it's ridiculous. You ain't dropping that thing in on the side of the road somewhere. Like you're going to trailer it and you're going to back it in, like wet launch it. So adding a little bit more weight via motors and batteries, not the biggest deal in that situation. My other kayak, my pedal kayak, I try to keep it as lightweight as possible because I am oftentimes using backwoods launches, places that I've got to just drag it down to. So I want to keep it light, which again, is why I want one of each. But I'll probably end up getting a 24 volt motor. I had initially thought, and I think I plugged them on last video or the video before. And I want to officially recant my previous statements. I had plugged power pole. Power pole, I've got power poles on the kayak today. These are my anchor sticks, basically. They're electronic, motorized anchor devices. I don't even know what the proper wordage is here, but they drive these stakes down into the mud. It allows me to stay anchored. And I put one on each side of the kayak so that I don't get that sway. If you just use one, when a fish takes off, it's going to pull you. Or if the wind's blowing, you're going to weather vane. So I use 2 of them so that I can keep myself still. So when we're carp fishing, our baits ain't moving. They're sitting out there, right? Well, PowerPole also started making trolling motors a couple years back. Very expensive, overpriced for sure. But at ICAST this year, there was a video where the person I didn't go down to ICAST. I don't waste my time with that crap. But I watched a video of the person in their booth at PowerPole showing a kayak version of their motor that they were going to be coming out with. And it was going to be 24 or 36 volt. You could run it either way. It was either going to be 80-pound thrust at 24 volts or 100-pound thrust at 36 volts. They was claiming they were getting 7 to 8 miles an hour in the kayaks they had tested it on, which is awesome. Here's the kicker, and here's why I was plugging them on that recent trip, and I thought I would probably end up getting one. The guy in the video said that it was going to be extremely lightweight. He said the final weight was going to come in somewhere in the 30s. I think he said high 30s. And I thought, that's amazing. Like, that in itself is worth paying a premium for, because most of the 24 volt motors are 50 to 60 pounds. Like, it's a significant increase in weight over the 12 volt system, which again for this kayak is too heavy at where it's currently at. So I thought, man, if they can make a lighter weight motor, that's worth paying the premium price. Well, hold on, we got helicopter man going over. First the airplane, now the helicopter. Middle rod though, something's tugging. Has he got it? That helicopter probably spooked him off. I'm gonna pick up here and see what's going on. He's got it, he's got it. Watch this. No, he don't. No, he don't. He had it, and I set the hook too soon, I reckon. That got our worm. You know what we're gonna do? Well, I mean, we got to rebait this one, obviously. It's been about an hour now. We're gonna go ahead and reel in these other lines that ain't been touched and just spruce them up too. Just to go ahead and put some fresh pack bait on there. We know there's a buffalo out there roaming around. We've seen him now twice. Or we've seen 2 buffalo, I don't know. Now we know there's at least 1 carp in here because we got him first thing. So there's some fish out here. Definitely some shad in here. We've seen them flipping numerous times. We'll just spruce everything up and I'll feel better about it. I don't really know the best time to rebait when it comes to carp fishing. Catfishing, for me, kind of depends on conditions and, well, honestly, how much bait I have that particular day. There are times when I will put my baits out and leave them out for the duration of my trip. So they may be the same bait on my hook for 4 or 5 hours, depending on the day. In the warmer months, when baits bleed out, oh, there goes that rod. There goes that rod. Let's set this in. That fish, he heard we was about to rebait, and he said he didn't want to miss out on this. Is he still on? Nope, he's not. He tugged on it. Y'all missed that one. That's on you, because I was on this other rod here trying to get it cast back out. Y'all should have picked up this rod. That one, you can't blame me for that. That's 100% you on that one. 100% you. But yeah, I don't know with carp how often you should rebait, really. I mean, if your line's not getting messed with, then in theory, your breadcrumbs or your, in this case, the soybean meal, the corn, pineapple, and all that still should be there, right? Like if nothing else is, if nothing's been around your line. Whereas catfish bait, you're depending on kind of the blood and the oils and stuff. So if it's real hot or if you're fishing in current, it's going to wash out over the course of a day. you want to spruce it up a little bit more frequently. But I don't know with the carp. I don't know. Everybody's got their theories. I guess in my mind, I'm like, maybe like every hour. Maybe it should be done more frequently, less frequently. I don't know, but I'll feel better about it having had our lines out for an hour. And well, prior to that fish, this rod hadn't been hit, so I just feel better about sprucing it up. If that one runs, he needs to run toward us or that way, not toward that tree over yonder. This one here was the one that we had the pineapple on, and I'm curious to see if it's still on the hook when we reel it in, or if it fell off. It appears to have fallen off. Maybe we'll stick a worm on this one too. I don't know, there's a piece of that pineapple. Let's stick it on here and tug on it a minute and see what it feels like on the hook. It feels pretty good to me. We'll try pineapple again on that. Who knows, man. We know there's a buffalo here, so if he likes pineapple, I don't know where them buffalo would be getting any pineapple at out here on the Tennessee River. That ain't something that's probably going to fall in the water very often. Maybe some of these rich houseboaters, people of the yacht club, maybe they have them a little dessert, a little pineapple dessert. Maybe some of them people that are swingers or whatever. I think ain't that the sign of swingers? They hang a pineapple from their porch or something. So maybe some of them swingers in the yachts, when their pineapple goes rotten that they got hanging out on their door or windowsill or whatever, it'll drop in the water and then buffalo eat it, and that's how people figured out they like eating pineapple or something. Hell if I know. But they ain't seemed to have liked it yet. Okay. Should have thrown that a little more to the left, I think, but we'll roll with it. Oh, look at this worm. We got one escaping here, y'all. Dang worm, trying to get back in that tub, buddy. We ain't having no escaping today. Y'all too damn expensive. Be letting any of yous go. Okay. What was I talking about before we rebaited everything? Oh, I was talking about power pole. Yes, anyway, they're on that video, and dude was going on about how it was going to be just so lightweight, lighter weight than what's on the market here. And I was excited about it, as I was like, man, that's awesome. A motor that powerful, that lightweight, even if it is ridiculously high, which power pole stuff always is, they're proud of it. I'm like, well, that might be worth the premium. And so I reached out to PowerPole, because in this video, they didn't have a release date. They didn't know when it was going to be coming out. The kayak version with the shorter shaft and all, they didn't know. Their other motors have been out, but they didn't know. And so I reached out through their contact link there on their website and just asked if they had just a ballpark time period. Like, would it be this year? Would it be next spring, next summer? Like, if they just had a ballpark time period of when it might be released. And much to my surprise, they responded back saying that it could be ordered right now, that it was on their website and would be shipping in the next 2 to 4 weeks. And I was like, well, let's go check it out. And I get on their website, and the first thing, I've got sticker shock, just a punch to the gut, because this thing's $4,800. Ridiculous. And I scroll on down, and I'm reading the specs, because I want to see what did the final weight end up coming in at, and it's 53 pounds. And I'm like, well, hell far, that ain't a bit lighter weight than what's on the market right now. Like, that guy was talking 30-something pounds, so I don't know what the hell he's talking about. So either he misspoke, or they've typed it wrong on the website. And I'm inclined to believe he probably just misspoke, because the other comparable size motors on the market are all 50, 60 pounds. So here I was, kind of touting them a little bit, kind of giving them a free plug in a recent video, because I was honestly excited about it. But my excitement now has passed. $4,800 damn dollars. Those motors, I've watched videos on them. They are silent. I mean, they're very quiet. I do agree with their claims that they are the quietest motors on the market. I've not seen all of the motors on the market. I cannot say, well, it's 100% sure the quietest, but of the motors that I have used and seen other people using, it is definitely way quieter. I don't know about necessarily under the water with the motor turning the prop, but above the water with the sound it makes when you steer it, or when it's in spot lock and it's moving, it's definitely way quieter, for sure. So they've done a good job with that. Their warranty is really good. It's better than the other companies. And they're all about their, middle rod. Has he got it? Okay, we got something here. We've got something here, folks. Y'all hang on. It ain't a carp. It's not a carp. Is it a catfish? I don't know. Could it be a buffalo? I'm leaning toward catfish. I think it's a little better catfish, but I think it's probably a cat. I still ain't got a good look at him. Yeah, it is. It is a little bigger one. Bigger than some of the others. Let's see if it's a blue or a channel. I believe that is a channel. That and there. I know I talked about keeping some channel cats today, possibly, but this one's bigger than what I want to fool with keeping. This is actually, for my area, this is actually a fairly large sized channel cat. Most of the time we get channels that are smaller than this. Something about this middle rod though, man, it's in the right place, I guess. It must be, that middle rod must be like in the creek channel, like that one that goes up through there, and maybe we're getting these fish as they work their way up or something. That's the only thing I can figure, because these other two just ain't getting nothing going on. Calm down. I want to get that hook out of you and get this rig back out to the one area that we're getting action on. Hey, quit that. Quit that. Oh, you daggone ornery thing. He tried to put that hook in me. He's got that hook going through the bottom lip. And it's a small hook, but I still don't want to wear it. Come on, you ornery old thing. We could have probably done caught another fish by now in the time it's took you to get you unhooked. Now you flinging water all over my face. Probably getting it all over this camera too. There. Get hold of the hook, maybe we can. There we go. Oh, dadgummit. Boy, he just took a hide off my finger there. I ought to keep you just out of spite, buddy. I'm gonna give you the long arm. You ain't getting no front camera time. That's for dang sure. But yeah, that right there, I mean, for my area, pretty good sized channel cat. It ain't gonna match up there at Sandusky Bay, that's for dang sure. But for around here, that's about as good as it's gonna get. He got the last laugh, didn't he? I ain't gonna feel the least bit bad about keeping one of his friends if they don't leave us alone. I ain't gonna feel the least bit bad about it. Thankfully, he tore up my finger, not my feet. Cause I gotta get my feet done tonight. And girlfriend's done told me it's that time. We gotta get our toes done. That's what she likes to do, you know, and I admit I've kind of gotten to enjoy it too. Something about having a hot Asian girl rubbing on my feet, just, it appeals to me. Let's get this back out here. Something about that area over there we're casting this middle rod into is just, it's definitely got catfish over there for sure. But I bet it's probably in that old creek channel because it's just a little bit deeper than the surrounding water, which all of it's really shallow. It's all real shallow through here. Okay. Get that off our hands. Let's see if that worm that tried to escape. He's tried to escape again. Look at this. He just fell out the dang tub. He was trying to get out. I'm gonna have to do a better job of closing that lid or we're gonna lose all our worms. Well, he's lively. Look at him, buddy. He is a lively old worm. That's gonna get some attention down there. Out it goes. Same area we've been getting them. All right, I'm gonna put the lid on this thing tight this time. Y'all heard it click. If them worms can escape that, they've done something. Channel cat tore me up good, buddy. He don't like my kind around here. He's heard all the stuff I've said about them channel cats. But yeah, anyway, did he get water all over you? He threw water on my face there. He got a little water drops on you. Let me clean that off there. There might be something on this video y'all want to see today and be water all over the lens. I know you don't want to see my beautiful face that much, but yeah. All right. I think we got y'all cleaned up again. But yeah, I was pretty disappointed when I seen the specks there on the dang power poles. I was really hoping to have a lighter weight motor with all the power and all the bells and whistles. So I may still end up considering it. I mean, I know it's outrageously priced, but their warranty is longer. And here's the problem. All these and I went on a rant on one of these videos a few months ago whenever I had to replace the motor up here. All these motors are garbage. Every damn motorized anything on the market today is garbage. Nothing lasts anymore. And so this motor guide, for instance, I've gone through 3 or 4 remotes One of the GPS module I had to replace, and a few months ago I had to get a new motor because I'd gotten water inside the other one. So a lot of crap going wrong with the motor guide. I had that Minn Kota that came with the Old Town Autopilot kayak, had a ton of problems with it. I had 2 warranty claims on it within a year. And so all of this stuff is just, it's built to fail. And PowerPole does have a longer warranty. But longer warranty don't necessarily mean better quality. It just means that they're willing to replace stuff more frequently, which if you're priced significantly higher than your competition, well, maybe they're just pricing in the fact they're going to have to replace it within that 3 years. And so you're basically just paying for it up front with the increased cost. Because, I mean, well, like these anchor pole systems over here. Now, knock on wood, I ain't had no issues with them. And, well, nothing this year. But right after I got them, I had 2 warranty claims within the first few months. Now, again, knock on wood, everything's working good for now, since we got everything fixed the last time. But, you know, my experience with PowerPole hasn't been any better quality than any of the other motorized objects I've had. So I think their increased price, you just paying up front for the warranty claims that will probably inevitably be filed. But I don't really want to go with another motor guide because I've had so many problems out of this model, and I don't know that going to a 24-volt system is going to be any, I don't know that I'm going to have any less problems. It's the same remote that's a piece of crap that I've went through 3 or 4 of now. So there's that. I will consider the Garmin, although it is heavier. It's 60-something pounds, 63, 64 pounds, I think. So it is heavier, but I have that Garmin graph up there, so I could connect the motor to the graph if I go with the Garmin motor. All of these motor companies are in cahoots with each other. Like Humminbird works with Minn Kota because Johnson Outdoors is the parent company to both Minn Kota and Humminbird. So they work together, but you can't hook up any other kind of graph to a Minn Kota. Lowrance works with Motor Guide. Garmin works with Garmin, of course. And PowerPole, with PowerPole, if you want to set a route on it, there's a app, ProNav, I think it's called. They made an attachment that you could hook on to other trolling motors that didn't have GPS. And you can apparently set a route through their app, or you can connect to Lowrance units with the PowerPole motor. So the bottom line is, whatever you get, if it's got a motor, the day you take it out the box, clock's ticking. Clock's ticking before you're going to have problems with it. Motor's going to malfunction, the remote's going to malfunction, something's going to malfunction. Now, one thing, here's something I did like about PowerPole, and I noticed this when I was scrolling through reading. First off, it comes with 2 remotes. So if one of them craps out on you, you got a second one without having to pay extra. Of course, again, the increased price in PowerPole, you're just paying for it up front, basically. But them remotes for the motor guy, they're $100. And again, I've been through 3 or 4 now. I think I got 2 more right there in my front hatch. But you got to have a spare with you because it will crap out. It's a matter of time. So there's that. The other thing about the PowerPole remotes is they're rechargeable. So like this remote here takes AAA battery, 2 AAA batteries, I think. And so you got to open it up, and there's no with this motor guide remote, and I'll try to show you here what it looks like in case you ain't seen one. This is it. And so there's no screen, no digital display. I have no idea battery life or anything like that. So I don't know that the battery's going dead until it goes dead. And then I got to take out all them screws, take this thing apart, try to get that battery lined up on there and put it back together. Now, that's not a big task if you're sitting at home, but when you're out on the water, your hands are wet. God forbid it happens in the wintertime and your hands are numb and you're trying to operate a tiny screwdriver and get them screws, them tiny screws. If your hands are cold and wet, you don't have all the dexterity. So, you know, you drop one of them screws, you know, things happen. And you have to do it on the water because, again, you don't know your battery's dead until it's dead. So the power pole ones, you can at least charge them. And apparently the batteries last a month on a charge. So I was thinking what I'd probably do is hook up their little magnetic charger thing to my battery and have that other remote sitting on it all the time. And when one battery would die, I'd just take it off, stick it on the battery there, or the battery charger magnet thing on the kayak, and just take the other one and be ready to go. So it's got some perks to it, but I mean, you pay for them perks, by gosh, you pay for it. It's also got a 36-inch shaft, because that's their kayak version. The motor guide, this one here is a kayak version in the 12-volt, 36-inch shaft. The 24-volt models don't have that small shaft. The Garmin doesn't. So you're going to have to cut down the shaft, or you can do like my friend Ryan there, I forget what his was, 48 or 54-inch shaft. It's ridiculously long. And so he'll be sitting in his kayak and the shaft will be sitting up there 2 foot tall. It looks ridiculous. It would get in my way casting if I was ultralight fishing or something. So I don't know what I'm going to end up going with, but if I go with that bona fide kayak, it's going to be so big and so heavy. This 12-volt motor here, if I'm getting 4.5 miles an hour in this kayak and people are getting around 4 miles an hour in the new canoe, I would expect a 12 volt's probably going to push that bona fide somewhere between 3.5 to 4. Probably more like 3.7, 3.8. So I think I want a 24 volt or 36 volt. Yeah, the power pole, again, you could go either way depending on what kind of battery you got. So I don't know what I'm going to do. But I'm probably going to, when I get that kayak, I'm probably going to upgrade motors. And you can see how thrilled I am about it, just hearing me talk, you know. Like I want it, you know, I want to be on a level playing field in the tournaments. You know, I don't want to be out there with guys that have a competitive advantage over me. Like I want to, if they have it, I want it. Now I don't know that you necessarily need it all the time. Like I've had really good days fishing in my pedal kayak with 2 rods, but in a tournament, I want every option available to me, okay? Oh, middle rod again. I swear, if that's another channel cat, they heard I was wanting to go catfishing today, and they're like, well, Justin, you wanted this. I wonder if he's got it. My line went, he hit my line and it went slack. I think he's swimming toward us. We're gonna set the hook when we catch up with him here. He's swimming right at us. Look at this. We're just walking the dog right here. I still ain't caught up with him. Oh my gosh, he let it go right here. He was just swimming along with it. I don't don't know how y'all messed that one up, but you did. He got part of our worm. Dadgummit. We having a time here today, folks. We at least getting some bites, even if they are all on one rod, but we ain't getting. I want them dang carp, man. They're gonna just explode on the water surface, man. I want that shallow water. When you catch them real shallow and they make them runs, it's fun. That's what I want today, buddy. Let's stick us another worm on there too. That in there looks like he's seen better days. That thing was coming right at us. Like, I couldn't catch up with him. And I finally did. He let it go. We got gypped on that worm. That in there ain't very big. We'll add him there with the other one and see what this will do for us. I have no doubt we'll get bit. I just fear it may be another channel cat. We threw part of that pack bait off with that one. Okay, back in the game again. I talked earlier about going down to 2 rods potentially if we got on a good bite, but hell, it turns out we only needed 1. Again, I hate the way the kayak fishing industry has swung toward this basically plastic John boat mentality. Because that's what they're turning into, plastic John boats. And then people make that, well, why don't you just get a boat? I don't want a damn boat, I want a kayak. And if I fish a kayak tournament, I want to fish against guys in kayaks, not plastic John boats. But unfortunately, if it has kayak in the name of it, it's allowed to be used. So all these guys are using damn plastic John boats. So if I'm gonna fish the tournaments, then I need to be in a plastic John boat too. But I'm hoping we've went to the extreme here on what's a kayak now and what ain't. So I'm hoping that eventually the pendulum will swing back. We'll get somewhere a happy medium where everybody can have what they want. I just want a normal size kayak that's lightweight. I don't care if it's plastic or if they come up with a new material. Like, I want a kayak that's small enough to be fun to fish out of, but lightweight, that don't break your back, something you can launch anywhere. I've been back and forth on this now for 2 years. But that Hobie Lynx, the hull itself is 40-something pounds. You put the seat on, pedal drive, all that, it goes up to like 60-something pounds. So still half the weight of a normal fishing kayak. I've had concerns with that kayak for durability. A lot of people, they're puncturing them, they're cracking them. You know, Hobie's quality's gone to crap since they moved to Mexico. When they sold out to that new ownership group and moved their operation down to Mexico, and I ain't talking bad about the Mexican people, I'm sure there's fine products that come down there, but Hobie's operation's been subpar ever since. I've just had concerns about buying a new Hobie. Just because all my friends that's got new Hobies, they've had cracked holes. The pedal drives are falling apart. Like, there's been so many problems. This one here, the Hobie I'm in today, this is a 2017 model. Now, I've broke my skeg line last year, and I can't get it fixed because none of the dealers around here know how to do it, and I can't figure it out. I can't figure out how to run that cord. But this was, this was back when they were making them here in America. It was the old company, so no issues whatsoever. But the new ones are a concern, and that Hobie Lynx, as fragile as it is anyway, because it's foam wrapped in fiberglass with a plastic shell around it. That's how they're keeping the weight down, which I commend them for at least trying to keep the weight down. None of these other kayak companies are trying that. They just keep making them bigger and heavier. So at least Hobie, I tip my hat to them for trying. But I have my concerns about the quality. The other thing I have concerns about is the design of that. It's basically a paddle board that you pedal and has a seat, okay? I have concerns as to how I would rig up rod holders that would withstand the takedowns that you get oftentimes catfishing. I don't know that the material that kayak is made out of could withstand it. The other thing, and this may be a bit foolish of me, y'all make fun of me if you want. I have real fears about a shark coming into that kayak. I'm not talking about because I would ideally use this kayak when I go to the beach or when I go down to the Keys because it's lightweight. Be easy to get through the sand, and you could haul it on top of your car, so you don't have to take a trailer down to the beach, which there's very limited beach trailer parking. Y'all know how it is when you go vacation somewhere. Hell, even if you stay at a hotel at the beach, they don't have pull-through spaces. You know, it's hard to park a trailer. So you could take this kayak on top of your car and be able to easily get it up there because it's lightweight. But the design of it being almost paddleboard, it's flat. So between the design of it being just wide and flat, it's not very tall. It sits very low in the water. Now my concern is, you get down there and I'm out there in the Keys and I'm either shark fishing or I'm just fishing for something else, fishing for bait, and I'm reeling in another fish, and a shark lunges at whatever I am reeling in, which that happens, folks, okay? People get sharked all the time down there in Florida when they're reeling in other fish. That's why normal Floridians, I think that's what you call them, people of Florida, they all hate sharks because they're trying to catch stuff to eat and they're sport fish and whatnot, and they'll be reeling them in, shark come up and snatch the damn things, bite them in half or eat the whole fish. You know, that happens all the time. Well, if you're in the damn Hobie Lynx and you're setting 2 or 3 inches off the surface of the water, if one of them sharks lunges, attacks the fish that you're reeling in, and you won't even see that shark coming, you know, it ain't like you got any warning. All of a sudden you're reeling in, you're about to land that fish, and then boom, here's the shark. If he's coming, if you're sitting here 3 inches off the water and he comes here and hits your kayak, like he's coming up and over your kayak, like he's coming on top of it. You know what I mean? Like you're not setting up. And I watched that video of, I believe it was Fishaholic down there, YouTuber. He was down there on the 7 Mile Bridge, which is an area I hit when I go down there to the Keys, a very popular tourist fishing spot. Lots of sharks there. He was reeling in something, and a bull shark went after the fish that he was reeling in and nailed the side of his kayak. I mean, like, bam, just hit it. Now, he was in a normal kayak, so the shark hit the side of the kayak. But I was thinking, like, if I was in that situation, and I was in one of them Hobie Lynx kayaks, there's a good chance that shark just comes right up on top. Now, with that kind of momentum, he's going to keep going. But what if it gets your leg, not even trying to attack you, just accidentally? What if it gets your leg as it's going across? Or what if it slams into your seat or something? and your seat breaks free and you go overboard. That could totally happen. And now you've got a shark that's actively feeding and you're right there in the water around it, kicking around. You know, like that's a concern. Now, I may be way off base. I may be just irrational with my fear of this, but it's a definite concern. But I am fascinated still, nonetheless, with those Hobie Lynx kayaks. And I watched a video. I keep going. I've been back and forth ever since they come out a couple years ago. I've been back and forth on these things. There's a lot I like about them and a lot I don't. But I was watching a video the other day, and I'd shout them out, but I've done forgot who put it on. It was some kayak store. They've got a channel. They're like a retailer, a dealer. And they were destroying a Hobie Lynx, because the biggest knock on those things that people have is that they are just piss poor durability. I mean, people drag them a little ways and the bottom looks like trash. They get these big gouges in them, they crack. It's just, and I'm not trying to damage a kayak, but I'm also not really gentle either. Like, I use concrete boat ramps a lot, and it's just, I put a lot of wear and tear on my gear, not because I try to, but just because of the amount of use my gear gets. So I need something that's good quality. And I've had fears that I'm gonna spend all this money on one of them Hobie Lynxes and I'm gonna damage it in a month. And so anyway, this kayak retailer, and again, I forget who the hell they were, but the video is out there on the YouTube. They took one of these Hobie Lynxes and were intentionally trying to damage it. The guy was picking it up and throwing it down on the concrete asphalt there in the road. He did it on the sides, he did it on the front of it. He took a hammer to it and was beating it. Like, I mean, he was jumping up and down on it. Like, he was trying to damage this thing. And I'll be honest with you, when he was done, it still looked pretty good. Now, apparently that was a returned kayak. Like, there was some blemish or something on it that it was going to be like I don't know, warranty claim or something. So they were going to have to destroy the kayak anyway. And so he had made a video just showing that maybe the hull's a little bit more durable than what people are claiming. Now, these people, I think a lot of the problems is people are trying to use this kayak on rivers that are, like, they're bass fishing and they're faster flowing rivers, so they're hitting sharper, more jagged rocks with this thing. Or they're in the ocean and they're launching in places with a lot of oyster beds. And this kayak, it's not going to hold up to that at all, okay? But me, I wouldn't be using it in those situations. So, I don't know. I go back and forth on it. I have for a couple of years. At some point, y'all may see me in one, I don't know. I got the concerns for durability. I've got concerns how I'm going to mount rod holders. I don't like that the seat sets so low to the floor. It's not going to be comfortable for long periods of time with as tall as I am. I hate the Hobie pedaling motion. I like the Hobie pedal drives in the fact that they're compact and they're lightweight. But the stepping motion that you do, if I do it too long, I get sciatica. My body hates it. I'm the only person, all my friends love Hobie. All of them. Like, all my bass fishing friends, they all have Hobies. That stepping motion, the Mirage Drive, like, they love it. I'm the only person that I know who has a pedal kayak that prefers the bicycle motion. Like my Old Town kayak, it has the bicycle style pedaling motion, pedal drive. And that's comfortable to me. Like, I can do that all day long and not have any sciatic issues whatsoever. Like, it doesn't bother me. I prefer that style pedal drive, but I'm the only one who does. All my friends prefer the Hobie stepping motion. So again, if I get the Hobie links, then I've got to use the Hobie pedal drive with it, and that's going to limit my range because I'm just not going to be able to go very far without hurting myself. So there's a lot of pros and a lot of cons, but I give Hobie credit because they are the one company, aside from these companies that are creating the inflatable kayaks, but they're the one company that has put any kind of money into research and development of a lighter weight platform. All these other companies getting bigger and heavier. This Hobie Pro Angler, 140 pounds. That Bonafide kayak coming out, 170 pounds. Wilderness Systems new kayak that looks like a damn plastic bathtub. I don't know the weight on it. I guarantee you it's over 150 pounds though, just by watching the videos on it. I guarantee it. And you know, if you're going to use plastic material, you are limited in what you can do. That's why I think these companies need to put some time and money and research into finding a new material. Because if you make these kayaks this big, like, to use the plastic that they're currently using, if you make them lighter weight, plastic's too thin. Then you end up in a new canoe situation where you've got a kayak, they're new canoe unlimiteds there, and they're Frontier models. They're what, 12 foot long and 40, 42 inches wide, something like that. They weigh 80 pounds. They're a lighter weight kayak, but they're flimsy. The plastic's so thin, the floors flex, like people have problems with them. I had problems that one I had, like they're garbage. You know, again, I tip my hat to them in a sense for having a lighter weight kayak, but if the quality's crap, then what difference does it make how much it weighs? So Hobie at least put some thought into how can we make a lighter weight kayak out of a different material. And so, you know, I give them credit for that. A lot of companies are trying inflatables now. The inflatables, lightweight of course, but you've still got the same issues that you're going to have with the Hobie links, that they set so low to the water, because most of them are paddleboard style. You're not getting a traditional kayak where you're at least setting up a little bit and you got some sidewalls to protect you. I'm fascinated by it though. I want me something lightweight that I can launch anywhere. I take my pedals out of my Old Town kayak and I can get it pretty much anywhere, but still though, I mean the hole's like 90 something pounds, I think. So I mean, if you're dragging it through the woods, you're still, I mean, you're gonna be tired when you're done. You know, like it ain't a walk in the park, but it's at least easier to manage than this monstrosity here with all the motor and everything. This kayak here that I'm in, if I ain't got a boat ramp, I don't launch it. The Old Town I'll put in anywhere, but this one, gotta have a boat ramp. And so that's why it really ain't a big deal going from this one to the Bonafide, because, you know, I'm gonna be using a boat ramp with it too. It's not gonna be a kayak I'm gonna launch just anywhere. But here's the other thing about the Louisiana trip. Our tournament's gonna be on the Mississippi River down there, the very bottom of it. And we will also have access to the bayous. I can't ever say that word where it makes it sound right in my head. We'll have access to that too, those surrounding places too, just in case the flow is too much on the Mississippi River. But launch access down there, very limited. So either I'm going to need the bigger motor and bigger battery to be able to cover any water down there, or maybe I do take my pedal drive, my Old Town kayak, and try to find some side of the road type places that aren't boat launches and put in there. A little concerning doing that in a place like Louisiana where they got a bunch of alligators. I don't want to just go tromping down side of the road through the weeds, you know, like I would up here, but that's a possibility too. Is our left rod getting messed with? Please tell me that's a fish on that line over. My line kind of got a little tighter. How awesome would it be to finally get something to happen on this left rod? My line just went slack. I don't know if y'all can, I'm looking right there on the water. I can kind of see my line. I'm hesitant to pick up after we done botched a couple fish. I'd like for him to have it. I think something's over there near that bait though. I hope it's a buffalo. I ain't seen that buffalo come up no more. One would think he's probably still in the area, but with all this food we've thrown out, but who knows? Should I tighten up that line? If I reach up there to try to tighten up my reel, I'm gonna shift my weight forward in the kayak and then it may spook him or something. The other thing it could be over there is a turtle. We're due to catch a turtle today. That one's the one with the pineapple on it though. The turtle surely wouldn't be after that. If we're gonna catch a turtle, I'd assume it'd be on the worms. I don't think that's the wind doing it because the wind's not blowing. Well, I see the wind blowing up there in the trees a little bit, but I don't feel it. You get a hot, just sauna-like day, the wind never blows. If it's cold and raining, the wind won't stop blowing. That's how it goes every time. I'm gonna tighten up a little bit. Maybe I can use my foot. I just think something's over there near it. I don't think it's got it. Maybe I'm just imagining it. I don't know. Maybe the wind was just doing something with that line. It's been a while since we've had any kind of tap or anything. I thought when we got that carp first thing, I'm like, okay, it's gonna be on today. It's on like Donkey Kong. And just one blue cat, some channel cat since. That's fishing though, man. You just never know. You don't know till you get out there on the water what kind of day it's gonna be, what kind of fish you're gonna catch. You at the mercy of the fish. I could have set up farther out in this creek, like, you know, I mean, hell, we could have been out there at the creek mouth, but the way I wanted to set up back here because of the way these two creeks come in together. And the further we get out there closer to the main channel, the more exposed we're going to be to boat wake. At least this far up in this creek, I've had to go around a couple turns, so we're going to be completely protected from boat wake. Now, there may be somebody, we're close enough in this creek that if a boat comes up in here, or a kayaker or something, like we may see that. I'm filming this on a weekday, so hopefully not, but that's a possibility, certainly. I was hoping we'd have a little bit of A little bit of privacy back here today. Just me, you, and a bunch of fish. And so far, we've had privacy. We've had me. I assume we've had you. Most of these videos do get some views. And we're just lacking some fish. At least the right kind of fish, anyway. With this much bait back here, and the fact that that creek does have, I mean, I'm not seeing any real water movement today, but it does normally have some flow, especially when it rains. I would assume that water that's flowing in back there is probably a little cooler in temperature than once you get out here and out toward the main channel. And that may get some fish working up in there, like catfish and stuff. Because a lot of our creeks here in East Tennessee where I live, you know, the Tennessee River, it's reservoirs. It's a series of reservoirs because TVA, Tennessee Valley Authority, they built dams just to create electricity and help with flood control and yada, yada, yada. But because the river is now a series of reservoirs, you only have current flow when TVA is generating. And when they turned the river into reservoirs, the water level came up. And so a lot of the creeks that would have had flow in the past, the water level went up so high and pushed so far back that you just don't have any flow in them. And so when you do find a creek that has some water movement, it's always a little bit exciting because you know you're probably going to have some cooler water temperatures. You're probably going to have some better oxygen levels. You usually got bait in there. It's just you don't, where I fish, you don't find a lot of creeks that's actually got some water moving into it, unless you just have a heavy rain or something. I think something's back on that left line over here. Rod tip's wiggling a little bit again. It's got to be just in that chum pile eating something, whatever it is. Could be a fish, could be a turtle. I hope that pineapple's still on there, though. If a fish does come along, I want that pineapple on the hook. I want to catch me a fish on pineapple. A pineapple tidbit. Pretty sure that's what they call it. I got the can with me. Thumbnail purposes, of course. I don't ever buy a pineapple. I mean, I like it, I'll eat it. But I don't, when I go to the grocery store, like I'm not buying pineapple to eat out of a can. Like I typically, I mean, I buy fruit at the grocery store, but I like it fresh. You know, summertime here, I'm eating a lot of peaches. I get them little cuties, some little oranges, mandarin oranges, where I get them a lot. I get bananas, get apples. But I don't, oh, middle rod now got hit. Well, something hit it. Something knocked slack in it. I think we're going to get one on this middle rod right here. If y'all don't botch it again. My line went slack, and now it's went taut again. Something was definitely after the worm. I don't want to pick up on it yet because y'all keep botching the hook sets. My line just went slack again. I'm going to stand up and grab this thing and Y'all come with me here. You tell me when to set this hook, because I'll let y'all do the last in there, and you ain't done worth a diddly doo-doo with it. Thing was swimming right at us, and we couldn't catch up with him. Gosh dang it. Oh, he is on there. I thought I missed him. He was just coming at us. Okay, what do we got here now? What do we got here? I thought he was going this way, but he was actually coming this way. There was so much slack in our line, I guess he was just doing whatever the hell he wanted. I think he just got in our other line here. Oh, he's gonna run circles around our other line. We're gonna have a tangled mess. He's run circles around that damn line right here. We have got a tangled mess, folks. Whatever this fish is, I'm upset with him. It's a carp. We finally get us another carp, and look what he's done to that line. That's braided line too. That'll be all knotted up. Oh man. I'm pretty good at getting tangles, but that one there is gonna be, I just kept watching him do laps around it. I'll probably have to cut and start over. Mono's easier to get tangles undone than braid. And I'll be damned, he just popped free right after all that. Y'all let him get off the hook before he could be netted, and look what he has done to our line. Holy hell. And if it's gonna happen, buddy, it's gonna happen on a video that's unedited. What we need right now is a fish to hit this rod while we've got this tangled mess going on. We need that rod to go down with all of this. My gosh, look at this mess. Yeah, I'm not even trying to untangle this. I'm not even going to attempt it. We will spend all day trying to get that untangled. Y'all should have picked up on that rod way sooner. Way sooner. I mean, I'm embarrassed for y'all really with how poorly you all have fished today. My gosh. This is something else right here, folks. This is something else. Lord. Okay, I think we got our hook out of it. Can we get our corn out of it? If we get our hair rig free, I think we can just cut out this mess right here. Look at all this. I mean, he just kept doing laps around it. And then we should have kept that fish. That fish right there definitely needed to be kept with what he's done to us. On that middle rod too. There's something about the middle rod. It's got to be, we've got to be in their path out there with where we're positioning that middle rod. Like it's got to be an area that they're just cruising in and out of. It's the only thing I can figure. For that one rod to get hit, and none of these others are. Okay, we about got it now. If I can just not screw it up here in the final seconds. There it is. Well, now our swivel. Now it's all wrapped around our swivel. I guess we could cut that. We'll cut the swivel, retie it. I put that strand of 50-pound braid between two swivels on this method feeder, just so everything, when you cast, everything is close together down there, your rig and your hook and everything. And I do that in advance, that way I can keep these rigs ready to go. Okay, well, we got that undone. Step number one here, let me tie this swivel back on. That other mess we're still gonna have to cut out, but I ain't got much I ain't got much braid to work with here for me to retie. Just trying to do like a little clinch knot if I can. My fingers ain't wanting to work. It's the pressure of doing this on a video. I swear this crap, I'd like to say it only happens when I'm doing a raw and uncut video, but in reality, this kind of crap just happens all the damn time. I hope it's not just to me. I hope it happens to y'all too. I ain't got enough line to work with here on this. Hell with it. We'll just put a new one on. Dadgummit. Let's save as much of this line as we can. Y'all just... Oh, well. I guess when I cut that line, well, there's that one. I guess all that other mess is this one's line. Well, let's do this. Let's get us a new rig and get this line cast back out, because that's the one rod we can count on getting eaten today. And so I've got a baggie here with rigs already ready to go. They've got their own individual baggie. That way when this happens, we don't have to sit here and tie each individual component of these rigs. I'd rather spend time doing that at the house, not do it while I'm out on the water. Because tying up these rigs, it's time consuming. When you gotta use a hair rig tool and all that, and thread your cord on there and all that, like it's time consuming. I'll put that back in there. I'll reuse that rig, but I'll fix it. That's a project for another day. Now, just like that, we're going to be ready to tie on and be ready to roll again. Yeah, I typically tie up a bunch of these rigs. I'll sit there and do it at the kitchen table. Usually in the winter, when it's, when it's real cold out and rainy and just ain't doing nothing, you're bored sitting around the house, you just sit there and tie you up a bunch of rigs for the spring and summer months, and that way you got them and you don't have to fool with it this time of year when, I don't know about y'all, but I'm usually busier in the warm months is just doing stuff around the house, whether it's mowing or working outside or just living life. I do more in the summer months, and I don't have as much free time or as much desire to want to do this kind of thing. What's going on here? Yeah, when you do these baggies like I'm doing, sometimes sometimes your hook will get inside them wire cages and whatnot. Not a big deal. All right, after all that, let's at least get this rod back out, and then we'll work on our other rod over here. I got a feeling we're gonna have to cut and do all that to get them dang knots out. Fish. I thought we had lost him and he was coming at us, and I guess we never really did get a good hook set on him because there was all that slack in the line when he was I thought he had swam to the left, and he had, but then he had swam to the right too, and it was just botched all the way around. I guess the next one, when it goes slack, I'll go ahead and pick up on it. Better to lose the fish, potentially, quickly on into it than have that situation happen again. Definitely don't want to be getting all these tangles. And we are playing with fire today with how we've got things positioned out here. All right, let's throw this back over there. That area has been good to us, at least for the fish that we've gotten. I'd like to get more of them, but we're at least getting some over there. Now let's see what we've got going on here. I mean, how did it get tangled up this high up my line? That's what I can't figure out. Crap. What a mess. We are going to do this right here, folks. I'm going to cut this line right here above this mess, and I'm going to hand reel in our rig. Wouldn't it be something if we had a fish hit this thing right now? That would make for a story. I am curious to see if this damn pineapple chunk's on here, though. Thankfully, I got these 4,000 size reels, so got a, boy, that's loud, wherever the hell that is. Motorcycle, I guess. Pineapple chunk is not on. Well, don't know at what point we lost that pineapple chunk, but it is not on there now. Okay. Yeah, we lost some line, but the 4,000 size reels, at least they hold a lot of line. I'll stick this here behind me so I can throw it away when I get back. Okay. Let's get all these weeds and stuff off here too. Boy, we got what is going on here now? There we go. Couldn't tell my line from the weeds. We're in bad shape, man. We're gonna get it fixed here though. We're gonna get it dialed in here in a second. Did you ever think for those of you still watching right now, there's probably a handful of you. Did you ever think you'd be watching a video of a guy picking out tangles and retying knots? This is real life fishing though, man. This kind of crap happens. Happens to me anyway. I hope it happens to y'all. It's like it happens to me too damn much, but it's because I get greedy. I start trying to fish with too many lines and too cramped an area. But it's fun. The fun we have makes the tangles and nonsense worthwhile. Pack some more on here and see if we can get something to play with us. I really wanted a buffalo. Y'all have sold me on this damn soybean meal, pineapples, lime jello, the whole 9 yards on the buffalo. And I ain't caught a nary one since we started using this mess. Now today is the first time using pineapples, but I had tried the soybean meal for two trips prior, and we had tried the lime jello the time before. So And we know, and here's the thing, I saw earlier 2 buffalo here. So there are some buffalo. They may not be here now, but they was earlier. So if they liked all this crap, you'd have think that it took a bite. Meanwhile, the old setup I was using, much easier to work with. Let's toss this one. Right in there, maybe. That's a shorter cast right there, but it's kind of in that shade where the sun's getting up now over them trees, and throw it right there in the shade. Well, that's while we're at it. Let's just go ahead and reel this one in and rebait. Might as well. I think when I cast this one back out, I think I'm gonna throw it a little bit farther over there. I don't know if that'll be a smart idea or not, but we'll try it. Yeah, old pineapple. Some of these buffalo, maybe they're pizza snobs, you know, they don't want no pineapple on their pizza. Personally, and I don't eat pizza very often, maybe once a month, but when I do, I get pineapple on it. I like it. Some people adamantly against pineapple on pizza, not me. I enjoy it. Maybe some of these buffalo around here, pineapple snobs. Pizza snobs. Put a worm on it. We're going to have worms on all 3 rods now. Because that pineapple, maybe the fish knocked it off, but I think it must be coming off on its own. Yeah, I'm going to throw that one way out there and see if that'll help our cause. I want to catch some fish, man. All right, all 3 rods freshly baited. We'll get everything back out. Here's the other thing too, like, because the carp bites have been limited today so far. I mean, we've got, well, the first carp we landed, that carp there, we lost. But we get another one, regardless of size, we should throw it in the cooler, just in case. You know what I mean? Like, because I gotta get some bait today. So, I mean, we're gonna need to keep something, even if it is bigger than what I would ideally like. And when it started out this morning, when we got that fish right away, I thought, great, it's gonna be on. And so we'll have time to kind of be a little bit picky and sort through some fish to get one the size that, at least smaller size, that we would ideally like. But now, you know, what are we, 2 hours into this mess, and the sun's getting up over here beside us like it's hitting me right now. I mean, it's gonna be a short trip for me today, y'all. It's just a sauna day, miserable day. So we better not be picky no more. If we hook another carp here, next one we hook, he's coming in the cooler with us. We'll see if we can offend some people that get upset with me because I put that carp in the cooler before beating him over the head or something. The last carp video, I went on a pretty good pretty good spell about that, and why I'm not gonna beat a carp over the head on video. They're just going into the cooler, and people got a problem with it, they can just find something else to watch. But we gotta have something or else we ain't catfishing tomorrow. And if I ain't catfishing tomorrow, hell, I may just take a day off, I guess, tomorrow, because I'm filming this on a Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. I'm not gonna go catfishing on Saturday because boat traffic, bass boats, to me, catfishing ain't fun on the weekends. They just ain't. There's too much boat traffic. You're getting pounded with boat wake all day. I don't enjoy it. I want to do my catfishing during the week. Weekends, I'll go places I can hide. I'll either ultralight fish, I'll go carp fishing, maybe I do a bait run, something like that, where I'm on the water early, off the water early. But I don't want to catfish on the weekend. So if we don't get bait today, then I won't be catfishing tomorrow. There won't be any point in making another bait run tomorrow because I wouldn't be catfishing again until Monday anyway, and the bait would be older than what I would want to use on Monday. So I may go carp fishing tomorrow. I may go I need to do some ultralight fishing too. I may do that if things don't work out here today. We may end up regretting, though, not keeping that first carp. With the way things are going. I mean, if we get a channel cat that's a reasonable size, I may keep it too, but I mean, it would be pure desperation to use one of them channel cats for bait. I've caught fish on them. Hell, I caught a big fish on channel cat one time. But it's definitely not a preferred bait. Definitely not something that if we've got our skipjack, our white bass, and channel cats in that cooler, I'm probably not going catfishing tomorrow. So we're gonna need some magic to happen here in a little while, y'all. Get your damn lucky rabbit's foot back out and rub on that thing. I ain't seen though. I had some when I was a kid. Used to get them in the machines. You remember? You go to the grocery store or Revco or something, and right there at the doors where you go out, there'd be them machines, and your granny would give you a quarter, and you'd put it in the slot and you'd turn it, and this plastic bubble thing would come out, and it would have a toy in there. And sometimes you get a rabbit's foot. Usually those were in the ones that had the bigger bubbles. They cost 50 cents. So I didn't get to do that all the time. But sometimes you get them quarter ones, and it might have some candy. It might have like a football helmet, like a mini football helmet, or a little baseball helmet or something. There was a buffalo right there. I saw him. I saw him right there. He just come up. I was looking that way. We've still got a buffalo in the area, y'all. Can we get one to eat? I saw him with my own eyes right there. I don't know if I don't know if he was in frame with the way the camera was pointed, but he was right there. Okay, that gets me a little excited again, folks. It gives me a little hope. But anyway, rabbit's foot. I don't know that they still do rabbit's feet anymore. But you used to get it, and it would be on like a little keychain ring, and they would have spray painted the fur, either purple, blue, red, whatever. I don't know that that's a thing anymore. I don't know if rabbit's feet stopped being lucky, if it's a animal rights thing. I don't know. But I ain't seen them in years, and most of them stores now don't even have the machines anymore either. I guess kids don't play with that. Well, nobody has pocket change anymore either. Everybody uses credit card. The only pocket change I ever have on me is if I'm at a parking lot or gas station or something, I look down and there's change on the ground, I pick it up. I pick it up every time. I don't care if it's a penny and it's face down, it's supposedly bad luck, I'm gonna pick it up. Because I don't know how it's considered bad luck to find a penny face down. Because you just increased your net worth by a penny. You got free money. All you gotta do is bend down and pick it up. That's good luck. That ain't bad luck. Who cares what direction the coin's facing? But that's the only time I ever have any coins on me is if I pick it up out of the parking lot. Otherwise, I never pay with cash. It's always card. The only place I pay with cash at is Donna's Diner because they don't take cards. It's cash or check. And I don't take the change when I go down there. I go in, and my meal usually comes, depending on what I get, it's either $7 and change or $8 and change, and I give them a $10 bill and tell them to keep it. So I don't ever have any change on me. And I guess nobody else does either, so it's probably put them people with the quarter machines with the toys in them, it's probably put them out of business. But I can remember when I was a kid, you go to the grocery store, and if you'd been a good little boy that day, your granny would get you a quarter out her change purse, out her pocketbook there, and you get you a toy. And when I was real little, there used to be like a shopping center. I guess that's what you call it. And you had Walmart, Revco, Ingles, and the Family Dollar. And they were all in a line right there. Now this was back when Walmart wasn't no super center. This was back in the 80s. This was in a time when Walmart didn't sell groceries. So you had a small Walmart, and you had a small grocery store. Revco was your drugstore, and then you had your Family Dollar, your dollar store. So you had everything you needed right there in that one little shopping center. You could park in one spot and hit all of them there. Everything you needed. And in front of the Family Dollar, they used to have and in front of Ingles too, the grocery store, they would have these, I honestly don't even know what you call them. Rides, I guess, mechanical rides that that was Shad flipped right there beside us, made a pop. Like a mechanical ride, like you'd ride them as a kid. You'd have a horsey that you would get on, and you'd put a quarter in, and it would ride for 30 seconds, a minute, whatever. When I was real little, I can remember riding them things. Them were the days, man. Family Dollar, Ingles, Revco, and Walmart. And we would hit, on shopping day, we would hit all four of them stores. But Ingles and Revco had them machines. And if I'd been a good boy, there'd be a quarter pop out that change purse, and I'd get me some toy that I'd play with for 2 seconds, and it'd end up in the car seat there, or in between the car seats, or whatever. Never got any good toys out of them things ever, but you always had to have one. My mom used to tell me when I was real little, and this is, I guess, before I have good memories of. I don't even know how, I'm trying to think like my first memory that I can remember as a kid. I think was my 3rd birthday party. I remember I was like a Donald Duck cake, I think. But I think maybe I was 3 or 4. I'm pretty sure that's like as far back as I can remember. I don't know that I have, I mean, maybe I have memories further back than that, but if I do, I don't have like a date attached with them.
I don't know, but apparently when I was real little, my mom would say, we'd go through a toy department, I had to have a Hot Wheels car. I would manipulate her into getting me 2 of them because I needed 1 for each hand. That's what I would say. It worked too because I'd get 2 of them. I never was that into Hot Wheels. I mean, I guess as a small child I was, but as I got older, G.I. Joes, and that's another early memory of mine. Like, I can remember getting my first G.I. Joe. It was the G.I. Joe called Barbecue, the firefighter. And I got him, it was for an Easter present. So I don't remember what year Barbecue came out. It would have probably been in 85 or 86. Fish, middle rod. Oh. He tugged on it and came off. Let's reel it in and rebait. That one tugged kind of hard. I wonder if that was the buffalo, because he was in that area. He didn't get our worm. That buffalo has been toying with me it may be the same damn one too, for all I know. But he's been toying with me all morning, trying to give me hope. Just teasing me like a girl at the nudie bar. You fellas that's ever been to a gentleman's club, you know how they are. Them girls will flirt with you and talk with you, make you think they're into you and like you might have a chance with them, but you don't. When you run out of money, they're done with you. And you ain't getting her number when you leave at the end of the night. And that's what that buffalo over there's been doing to me all day. Like, he just gives me hope. But he ain't biting. And I've done really well with the worms for buffalo. Like, the buffalo that I've caught this year has been on most of them, most if not all of them, have been on the worms. Okay, back out again. Get all that mess off our hands. But I don't know when kids start remembering stuff. Like, what is the age? And I guess it varies, because I don't know why you wouldn't be able to remember something maybe it is something with our brain development as far as remembering something when you're 2 years old, but I think my first memory would probably be a birthday at age 3 or 4, or whenever I got that first G.I. Joe figure. Again, it was Barbecue. That was its name. It was the firefighter G.I. Joe. And it was Easter, because the Easter Bunny, I had seen a rabbit out of our front window, and I was all excited because I thought that was the Easter Bunny. And in my Easter basket, I had that G.I. Joe Barbecue, and that was my first one. So whatever year he would have come out, 85 or 86, I guess, that would be a very early memory I had as a kid. Because I was born in 82, so I would have either been 3 or 4 when I got that first G.I. Joe. And that's going to be a wintertime project for me, is to go through my old G.I. Joes. I still got them. And fix the bands in there, because they're all, I mean, my G.I. Joe, they're 40 years old now too, just like me. I guess. I'm 42, so. Well, yeah, they're damn near, all my G.I. Joes are damn near 40 years old. They're falling apart. Like, I had pulled out a box of them there months ago, and my favorite G.I. Joe of all time was the one called Storm Shadow. It's the Ninja. The one from, not the first one. They had different iterations of Storm Shadow, but the second one, the one where it was like a white and gray camo pattern uniform, that was my favorite G.I. Joe of all time. And I pulled my box of G.I. Joes out a few months ago, and that one had fallen apart. It's seen a lot of action as a kid, man. Storm Shadow was involved in a lot of battles when I was a kid, both in the house, out in the yard, down by the creek. Storm Shadow was in every battle. He's seen better days. The rubber O-ring inside him that holds the G.I. Joes together, a lot of them, they're falling apart. They're just rotted, I guess, from age, and probably too, because I had them damn things out in the creek and whatnot. My G.I. Joes as a kid, it's like my fishing equipment now. Like, they got played with hard. So I'm gonna go at some point this winter and get me some of them O-ring things, and I'm gonna sit down and fix them old G.I. Joes. I may even try to play with them again just to see if I can remember how to do it. It's weird. I don't remember G.I. Joes being that small when I was a kid. But handling them as an adult, because, you know, the G.I. Joe figures, they're what, 3 inches tall, 4 inches tall, 2 inches tall? Hell, I don't know. They're small. They're like yay big. Holding them in my hands now, it feels weird. Like they're so much smaller than I remember them as a kid. Now, the Ninja Turtles and He-Man, Thundercats, like, they were bigger action figures. I had some of them LJN wrestlers back in the day. I had Hulk Hogan, Junkyard Dog, Iron Sheik, Jesse the Body Ventura, Big John Studd. Like, they were big figures. Now, I had that big wrestling ring too, and like, that was another very early memory, come to think of it. It was Christmas, and I got that big wrestling ring and several figures. I remember getting up on Christmas, and that wrestling ring was in the middle of the living room floor, and I had wrestlers still in the package, but they were like all the way around the ring. I wonder what year that would have been. That would have been really early on too. That had to be age 3 or 4. Because those LJN, oh, right here, left rod. Can we land this fish, folks, without any malfunction? No tangles, without him coming off. Can we please? Unless it's a channel cat, and I don't want to land him. I don't know what he is. I don't know what we got right here right now. Finally, something on the left rod, though. We've stuck a worm on there instead of the pineapple. Oh, it's a mirror. We got a mirror carp. Oh, I want to land this one. I want to land him so bad. I haven't gotten a mirror carp in a couple months. This is only my 3rd one of the year. Oh, buddy, look at this thing. Oh, man, he looks amazing. Oh, come here. We won't be keeping this one for bait. Oh, he's a big one too. Oh, man, y'all, this is awesome. I want you to look at this. This may be my biggest mirror, just size-wise yet. It's my power poles, dadgummit. Come on, power poles, work for me here. Okay. Y'all, man, look at this thing. He's got some scales up top, nothing here. I think there's more on the other side. I definitely want to get a picture with this thing. I think this might be my biggest mirror ever, potentially. Like, he has got some size to him. That is a nice sized carp right there. Here, I want to put y'all up here. I want y'all to, you may have to take a picture of this, me and this fish here. What's on that screen? Hold on a second, y'all, and you got something up here. Let me clean yous off. There we go. Now you look beautiful again. I got this sun behind me too, unfortunately. Well, it's kind of to the side. Maybe I can turn him and get him in the light. Oh, fist pump, y'all. Yes. I love me some mirror carp. They're all cool looking. And it ain't something you catch all the time. And I think I've got 2 so far this year. I got them on like back-to-back trips, and then I ain't got another one since. This one's big though. And he didn't even get the worm. The worm's still on here. Oh man, y'all, I want you to look at this thing. Come here, buddy. What? Okay, this side, yeah, both sides he's got scales at the top, but not the sides. That's awesome, man. Let me see if I can turn him this way, get him more in the light. Oh man. I'm gonna turn him around so you can see this side too, if he'll let me. I think this, for real, I think this is the biggest one I've ever gotten. I think most of the others have been significantly smaller than this. I'll have to compare pictures because I don't weigh them or anything like that. Yes. Oh man, his back's kind of deformed too. Like he's an odd shape, but mirror carp are so cool. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I wasn't done with him. I was wanting to look at him a little bit more. He said he's out of here. He said he didn't get his check in the mail. He's like one of them damn former movie stars at the Comic-Con. He wants his $50 just to get a picture with him. Man, y'all, how awesome is that? For us to have struggled so much today for the carp, I mean, one carp right away, we lose the other one over here 30 minutes ago, however the hell long it's been, tangled up everything, and now that one, and I wasn't, listen, that one right there, I wasn't going to keep that one. Mirror carp, they're just so, I just don't catch many of them. They're just kind of a rarity. Like, I'm not going to keep that for bait, especially one that big. But man, to be struggling out here on the carp like we have been and to pull that out like that, that's awesome, buddy. That makes my day. I'm going home happy today regardless now. Man, I love it. Dang, mirror carp, buddy. That is so freaking awesome. That is so awesome. Y'all got anything on the screen? No, y'all good. That one ate the worm and the pink corn. We had taken the pineapple off and went with the worms. And what do you know? We get bit. We had that rod over there not getting touched all morning. And we finally stuck a worm on the last time we rebaited. And we get a big carp. I'm about convinced with carp, and take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt, because I am not an expert on carp. I'm not good at carp fishing. Like people will poke holes in everything I'm about to say. But I'm about to the point where I don't really think it matters about your pack bait mixture. I don't think it matters one bit. I think you need some. I think it's a big help because it does create a chum pile. Bring some scent and something there to get their attention and get them over feeding. But I'm about convinced that even though the pack bait mixture doesn't matter, if you got some worms on there, you got a real good chance of catching some fish and getting some big fish. Because I tell you what, man, most of my better quality carp and my PB buffalo, and damn near, I would say probably 90% of the buffalo that I've caught have been on worms. Carp, I've obviously caught a bunch just on the plastic corn. right? Just artificial baits on the hook. But my biggest carp have been on the worms. And I'm about convinced that worms are the ticket, regardless of the type of pack bait mixture you use with them. I think you just need to get the attention of the fish, and if you got a night crawler or a red worm as we're using today, it don't matter. They're going to eat it. I think that's the secret to success with these fish, is just the daggone worms. I'm going to toss that over there, kind of the same area. I had tried to cast into the shade the last time, but the shade is now gone, so we'll just throw it over there in that general area. Well, got a fish on these two rods. The only rod now that we ain't caught a fish on, we had that one bite on the right rod. But otherwise, all our action now has come with these two rods. That's exciting, y'all. Though that's exciting for me. I know a lot of you ain't into the carp fishing, may not give a crap. But for me, like, I guess because I don't get them very frequently. Like, they're just, it's kind of a novelty thing, if you will. And they just look so cool. I guess that's why they're more special to me, just the rarity of it. But this year especially, like, I caught 2 back-to-back trips, but that was back in the spring. Like, it's been 2 or 3 months since I got one. And so to get one today, especially on a day where there hasn't been a lot of action, period, but especially from the carp, and to get one that big, like, that's pretty cool. It tripped my trigger, I'll tell you that. Made me almost as happy as getting that first G.I. Joe action figure at the Easter basket there when I was a kid. Barbecue, and I still got him. Can't remember what year he come out. I kind of want to know, though. I'm thinking about looking that up on my phone. I know that's rude for me to pull out my phone when I'm talking to you here on camera, but I kind of want to know, just for my own curiosity, and maybe some of y'all do too. G.I. Joe barbecue action figure. Apparently there's some new ones that have come out. I need the original. Original action figure. Is that what you should put in there? Why can't I find the date? Okay, here we go. 1985. That was him. That was in my Easter basket right there. Barbecue, the action figure. I used to keep the packages too, because on the back there would be like a little bio to give you the information about them and stuff. And I would cut that out and I would keep those. 1985. They were 3 1/4 inches tall. I knew they were short. $2.29. $2.20. They used to be $1.99 at Walmart when I was a kid. That was him. I still got him. He's not as bright now. So, you know, mine was used a lot. Let me get on. I'm just curious. I wonder what one of them things are going on eBay. G.I. Joe barbecue 1985. Okay. The ones out of a package aren't too expensive. Yeah, that one there looks more like the one I got, just really faded. Wonder what one, that one's missing a leg. Hell, he's $5. Okay, like right here, you see that card right there? I would cut those out and collect those when I was a kid. And I may still actually have those at my parents' somewhere. They may be in a box, possibly. But I would cut all of those out and keep them. I would read them. I was super into G.I. Joes. Like, I've got tons of G.I. Joes. I wasn't as much into the vehicles. Even though I always wanted that aircraft carrier, I still give my mom hell about that. I had all this G.I. Joe stuff as a kid. I never got that aircraft carrier. Always wanted it. But I wasn't big into the vehicles. I had some, but like I was more into the figures. And that's him, firefighter. That one's got his backpack. He come with an axe too. I wonder what one in a, okay, here we go. Oh, that's resealed. I wonder what a vintage one would cost, like in the package, perfect condition. May not even be able to find one. This one's $150 here. The box is all beat up. That one was $2.99. $150. Man, toys back in the 80s were so good. I love G.I. Joes. I wish kids today could experience the fun I had as a kid. These kids today, they don't know what the hell they're missing. I actually went last night when I went to Walmart to get our worms and the pineapple. We've wasted money on that damn pineapple, I'll tell you that. But I went by the toy department in there just because I'll just go through there and take a look. Because sometimes they'll be doing like old remakes of toys, like when that Netflix come out with He-Man again. 2 or 3 years ago, they made a new He-Man series, new cartoons. And they come out with some action figures. He-Man, Skeletor, all that. And Walmart had them back then, but they were $20. So I'll just go through the toy department occasionally. I'll look at the action figures, wrestlers, if they've remade any He-Mans or anything like that, I'll just take a look. And I went through there last night, and of course they had some wrestlers. But, man, these kids today, they don't know what they're missing out on. When I was a kid, there was 2 toy stores in Knoxville. There was Toys R Us and there was Children's Palace. And they were full of toys, like action figure toys, everything you could ever want. Because back in those days, if a movie came out, there would be action figures for the movies. Ghostbusters, Beetlejuice. I mean, I had a damn Beetlejuice action figure as a kid when that movie came out. But I mean, it was nothing to have. I mean, they would regularly come out with whatever movie would hit the theaters, there would be a line of action figures. And you go to Toys R Us or Children's Palace, and you could walk around and they would have everything. It was amazing. And there would be like an entire aisle of G.I. Joes. Figures, the vehicles, the forts and stuff, like, it was amazing. And nowadays, you go to Walmart, first off, there ain't no more Toys R Us or Children's Palace. They're gone. There was another toy store too. It was KB Toy Store. It was in the mall. All those toy stores out of business now. And if you go through Walmart, there's like one aisle of all the action figures. And, you know, a kid today, I don't know what a kid's allowance is today. Middle rod. Oh, he hit it. He's got it. He's got it. Okay, folks, here we go. I think we got another carp. If this one ain't a mirror, he may be coming with us. If y'all can land him. Don't botch this one, man. I'm gonna need y'all. Don't lose him. Don't let him get wrapped up in something. Don't let him come off before we can get him in the net. Like, oh man, he's in my other line over here.
Is he over my line or under my line? I can't tell. I don't know if he knows. We liable to have another tangle here, folks. I'm trying to get control of this fish. He was whistling Dixie as he was going out through there, wasn't he? He was burning some line, burning some drag. And he had the boot scooting boogie going on, buddy. He was getting after it. Like some of them women at the Cotton Eye Joe. That's where, I guess that Cotton Eye Joe still exists. That's where the cool people went back in the day, do their line dancing, pick up women and stuff. Okay, he come out of that other line over there, good. All right, folks, we're gonna have, this one's still bigger than what I'd like to keep, but I'm probably gonna take him, put him in the cooler just because I'm worried that, one, we may not get a smaller one, and two, we may not get another one, period. Although that is 2 carp pretty quickly here. Yes. Boy, this thing's gonna be, he's so big, he is gonna be a pain to cut up. I do not want to cut this thing up. That is too big to fool with. The bones, the scales, like I don't want to fool with one this big. Ain't that terrible? I'd rather just not go fishing tomorrow than to have to cut up a carp this dang big. I hope you realize how lucky you are, carp, that I'm that lazy that I don't want to have to try to cut you. Hell, I don't know if I could fit this damn thing in my cooler anyway. I got this Yeti cooler here. It's the 48 quart size, but with my ice in there, I don't know if I could fit him in. Let me set y'all back up here a minute. We'll hold this thing up. He's actually front camera worthy. He's just too big. I don't want to fool with it. Nice. Another carp. Slow day on the carp so far. It's only the 4th one. But it was fun. I'm happy to get him. Thank you for finally biting something over there, carp. Appreciate it, buddy. Tell your friends. We're going to be here just a little bit longer. Not too much longer because it's hot. But I'm going to stay a little while longer for sure. Because well, we've had 2 fish here pretty quickly. Nice. Yeah, I just don't want to fool with cutting one that big. They're just such a pain in the butt. I mean, it's such a pain. And you can't catch a small one. And you know, you can't tell me that there ain't some small ones in here. There has to be. The carp don't come out the womb weighing 6 pounds, you know? Like they gotta be some small carp in here, but, and people say, well, Justin, just use small hooks. I'm like, I'm using a number 6. How much smaller do you need to use? I mean, we've caught bluegill on these number 6 size hooks. I don't think we can get much smaller. I mean, they make smaller hooks, sure, but like, I mean, I don't think the hooks are a problem. I just don't know why they just don't. I get them in the cast net, but I can't get them on rod and reel. Maybe we got some fish working through here, though. You know, carp aren't usually alone. Like when you see them, they're usually in a group. It may be a small group, like 4 or 6 fish, something like that. But they're usually together. And so we may have some working back in this creek finally. You put enough time in here, like if I was somebody that was fishing long hours, and if we put in 12 hours to this spot, or if we was one of these people that fished more traditionally for carp, like the people over there in Europe and England and stuff, like they'll camp for days. And if we put that kind of time into one of these spots, I mean, come on, like we're gonna catch a ton of fish. At some point, we're gonna find ourselves in the right place, right time when they just work through. Now, doing how I do it, fishing
3, 4, 5 hour trips usually. And you kind of got to get lucky. You know, you got to just be, you got to hope that there's some fish there when you're on the water and that they're feeding when you're on the water. But I mean, you can, if you put the time into a place like this, like you're going to get rewarded. Or, I mean, if you bait an area, like if you'll go out and throw out some bait a few days in advance, you know, and get them used to eating in that area, that'll help your cause too. But that's time consuming. Especially if you got to launch your kayak or boat or whatever you got and make a run somewhere and go dump bait. Like, I've done it and it works, but it's time consuming. And I know most of these creeks will have some carp in them in the warm months. And so I mean, yeah, you catch more fish if you're going to bait an area and, you know, get them used to eating there, but like, I feel like I do pretty good without doing that. So it's not something I'm going to do very often. If I could go drive to a spot and throw out some food, I'd be more inclined to do it. But if I got to launch the kayak and make a run somewhere, you know, run 30 minutes from the launch to where you're going, dump food, 30 minutes back, load up, go home, and do that, you know, day, 2, 3 days leading up to when you want to fish. I'm like, hell, I'd just rather go out there and just go fish. Take my chances. But you can increase your odds doing that. I've used horse feed, cattle cubes, things of that sort. It works. Again, I don't think it matters. I think it's just getting carp used to feeding where you want them to feed at and having something there, like one of these juicy worms that the boogeyman in WWE would eat, just having it there ready for them. This rod had got hit. Well, that fish had gotten the line. You know what I think I'm gonna put this one? I'm gonna put it trying to over here in that shade where that tree's coming off. Let's hope I don't. Something's hitting this rod right here. Oh, let's get that and cast it. I did not hit the shaded area. It'll be all right though, because we had something tugging on this other line. I think he still got it. I'm gonna jerk his jaw. I don't know what this is. Channel? I don't know what this is. Maybe another cat. It's not a carp. Oh no. We were due. We got our turtle. Let's see if he's a slider or a snapper. Okay, good, he's a slider. Okay, we'll handle this one. I had a fella comment. Well, I say it's a fella, I don't know, it may have been a lady. I had somebody comment recently and ask me about using barbless hooks. They asked, when it comes to these turtles, if I was using barbless hooks, it'd be easier to get the hooks out. And I agree, it would. And it's definitely something to consider. Like, I don't know that we would necessarily lose any less fish or any more fish by using barbless hooks as far as the carp goes. You know what I mean? Because, like, the barbs are so small on these small hooks, like, I don't really know that they're super effective anyway. But the hooks that I've bought have been... Give me that hook back, thank you. Thank you there, turtle. We got it out of him. It was right on the tip of his mouth. Boy, he's coming, look at him. He's gonna climb out. He said he'll just make his own way out here. You can't fit under that rail, turtle, you're too big. You want some help? You want a little camera time before you go? Let me show you, let me introduce y'all to the turtle here, Ninja Turtle. He's all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed today. He's hissing at me too. What are you hissing for? I've done you a service getting that hook out your jaw. A lot of people wouldn't handle you. There's probably somebody out there that would confuse you for a snapping turtle or something. And you've still got my line wrapped around you, turtle. Look at this. Give me that. No, don't bite me. Give me that line. You silly old turtle. You need to wash your shell too. You've been down in the mud. You've been making mud pies like Drop Dead Fred. Y'all remember that movie from the 80s? Another very underrated movie. Turtle, you're probably too young to remember, but there's a movie called Drop Dead Fred. And he was the imaginary friend of this little girl, and he would make mud pies. You look like you've been hanging out in a mud pie. He's wanting to claw me there with his back feet trying to get away. These sliders, man, they've got some claws on them. I love turtles. I always hate hooking them because I don't want to hurt a turtle. But I will admit, it does brighten my day to get to hold a turtle. It does. I saved a box turtle here recently. I saw one in the road after it rained, and I stopped and helped him across. I don't see box turtles very often anymore. I used to see them a lot more, but the last several years I ain't seen as many. But I see these sliders, buddy, they're everywhere out here. All right, you ready to go? Let's go. We're gonna try to catch another fish. We'll see you. How you going? All right. I ain't gonna fist pump the turtle, but I'm glad that hook came out pretty easily. But I'm gonna show you, man, you know, the barb, would a barbless hook be easier to get out in that situation with the turtle? Absolutely. But the barbs ain't really, I don't know if it'll even show up on camera or not, it's so small, like, the barb's barely there anyway on the hook is small, so I don't know that it's gonna make a ton of difference either way. Like, I don't know that it's gonna be just significantly easier. I mean, it will be somewhat easier, but I don't know that it's gonna make a great deal of difference as far as level of ease of getting a hook out of a turtle. And I don't know that it would make a big difference as far as potentially losing fish for the non-barbless hooks. So, either way, those hooks that I use for the carp, they're ESP is the name of the brand. And I don't know that they have a barbless version of these or not. It's not listed as an option when I've bought these. I buy the pre-tied hair rigs with this brand, and so I've not seen it as an option for this model. And I like these hooks pretty good. They've been good to me. I've caught a lot of fish with them, so it's kind of one of them things, if it's working, why change it? Old turtle though, liked him some worm. He wanted him a worm today. He wouldn't touch that pineapple when we had it on the hook out there. But he wanted him some worm, and he's gave part of it back over here, and we're gonna put it on the hook. If it's still, yeah, it's still moving actually. All right. Put that on there. Got two more pieces of it right here too. We're gonna get a rebate on that worm. That turtle's too good for it. He couldn't get his way and get the whole hook and rig and everything. He said, I'll just give you the worm back too then. The soybean meal, definitely easier to cast today. So using less of it in the bag and more juices has kind of helped with our consistency. You can see where I had, it was right in there, I think, as far as the distance, the amount of this bag that I had. I had 1 can of cream style corn, just a regular corn can, and where's the pineapple can at? That size can, 20-ounce can of the pineapple tidbits. And I pour the water, the juice, like everything goes in. I don't drain it. But it's definitely been better today. This will probably be the thumbnail of today's video, by the way. I brought the can with. I mixed this at home last night, but I brought the can with me for the thumbnail. Be however many hours we fish, raw and uncut, kayak carp fishing with pineapple, even though we ain't caught a single fish on pineapple. We tried though, college try. I just don't, everybody's got their own favorite pack bait. I see it in my comment box all the time. Justin, try Wheaties, try cornflakes, try such and such mixture with cherry Coke or grape soda or whatever, you know, and it's like, everybody's got their own favorite pack bait. But you know what all the pack bait have in common, and the people who are sharing the recipes, everybody's catching fish with it. And that's another reason why I just don't think it matters. Because if all these different recipes are catching fish, then they're probably all going to catch fish. So I think it's more important just to have your baits where there are fish. And these creek systems like this, I mean, you're going to run into fish. They're going to work through eventually. It's just, will it happen when you're on the water? And the more time you put in, these fellas that camp and have lines in for 3 days at a time, like, whoa, they're going to get, they may be slow right now, but it may not be this afternoon, it may not be tonight. At some point, you're going to have a big group of fish come through and you're going to catch them if you got baits in. But I mean, you know, for a short trip, like we've had a few bites today, the channel cats, blue cat, well, we could have done without, and the turtle. But at least it gives some excitement when the rods start to get hit and go down and stuff. And that's what, 4 carp now? 4 carp, I guess. I'm done losing count. I got to thinking about them G.I. Joes and I've lost all train of thought. I wish I could play with G.I. Joes again. I used to love that as a kid. I don't know at what age I stopped playing with them. Probably when I, got into girls and stuff. Whenever you start to hit puberty, your priorities change. Interests change, but man, I used to love them. These kids today, I just walking through the toy departments now as an adult, it's just such a disappointment. I don't have any kids, but if I did, I mean, I would want them to play with action figures because I think it helps them. I think it's good for kids. You go outside and play with them. You're out there, you're building forts. You're getting some vitamin D in the sun. You're using your imagination. You know, you're using your imagination, but you're formulating, you're working with your hands out there as a kid because you're building something. You're using your brain to think about, okay, how can I build this fort out of the materials? Because I used to get I'd get sticks and rocks and stuff and I'd make forts for my G.I. Joes. And, and you're thinking about that, and you're problem solving. And, you're doing it as a kid where in a play situation where it's fun, where it's not like it's a challenge. I mean, it's not like it's work or school, but you're still getting an education. You're still getting practice at problem solving and thinking and, you know, all that stuff. Like, I think it's good for kids. And with these kids today, just video games and stuff, I mean, I guess it is kind of problem solving and some working with your hands at the video game controller. I don't know. It's just disappointing. Maybe I'm disappointed for myself, not even for the kids, just myself, just longing for my youth. I miss being a kid. Life was so much simpler then. There was no stress. You didn't have any worries in the world. If something went wrong, your parents was there to take care of it. It was, I mean, you had people taking care of you, taking care of your meals, making sure you got to baseball practice. You had your toys, man. Life was so good. I mean, life's pretty good now, don't get me wrong. I live a great life. I'm very fortunate that I'm healthy at my age. You know, I get to do what I want to do most every time I want to do it. You know, I live a good life right now. Things are going very well for me at this point in my life, and I'm thankful for that. But if you gave me a magic bottle and I could rub the side of it and a genie pops out and he says, Justin, you can go any point in life and stay there, past, present, and future. I will send you to that point in time in life, and that's where you will live out the rest of your days in whatever year you want. Man, I would probably go back in time to... I certainly wouldn't go forward in the future. I wouldn't mind seeing into the future, but I wouldn't want to go into it because I don't want to be any older than I am now. I would probably go back in time to 5 or 6 years old. That point as a kid where you're old enough to do stuff, like you can play sports, but everything's still new and exciting. That's probably where I would go. 5, 6 years old, not a care in the world. Baseball practice, watching baseball on TV, wrestling, watching wrestling with my great-grandma, playing with G.I. Joes and Ninja Turtles. Those were the days, man. Those were the days. You can't ever go back to the point where to be carefree again. Like, you know, nowadays, when you get older, there's always something to worry about. Whether it's your family's health, or if you got children out there, those of you who do, I'm sure a lot of you spend time worrying about your kids, what's going on with them, where they're at, are they okay? Me, I don't have that children problem, but you know, my parents are getting older and they've had their own health issues and just at that age, you know, where things can go wrong. So I worry about that kind of thing. Spend some time. It takes up mental capacity. Even when you're not thinking about it, I think there's a certain level of stress that's always there, whether you're thinking about it or not, just because the potential is there. When you're a kid, you don't realize that. You're just too young. You don't know what you don't know. You haven't been exposed to it yet. At least I hope you haven't been exposed to it at age 5 or 6. I mean, maybe you had when I was little, I had grandparents die at that age, but it's different. Obviously, some kids have really bad lives, broken homes and child abuse and all that, and so that's a whole different level. But if you're fortunate to be born into a good situation, and I was. I mean, I had 2 very good parents. We weren't rich by any stretch of the imagination. But as a kid, I didn't know we didn't have money. I mean, I had G.I. Joes and Ninja Turtles, and I got to go to baseball practice, and so like I had everything I could ever want as a kid. And it didn't cost me. I mean, a G.I. Joe back then was $1.99. A pack of baseball cards at the gas station, 50 cents. Like, it didn't cost much back then to keep a kid. Now, granted, the times were different back then. People didn't make as much money. But it didn't cost as much back then. Nowadays, even though with higher salaries and whatnot, I mean, like, hell, if I had a kid today and I had to buy it a video game, $50, $100, and every Christmas get it a new, whatever the game, PlayStation, Xbox thing, $500, whatever the hell they cost. I mean, it would be expensive to have a kid today. And that's just on toys. That ain't talking about clothing it, feeding it, schooling it, all the other things that takes up money for kids. It was just a simpler time back then. But yeah, I would go back to, if I could go back to any point in time in my life and just stay there, I would go back to 87, 88, 5 or 6 years old, Little League All-Star, watching wrestling all the time with my great-grandma, playing with G.I. Joes, building forts out in the woods. Life was just better then. Not a care in the world. I am on this winter though, I'm gonna get some of my G.I. Joes fixed up that are falling apart. Especially that Storm Shadow action figure. That was always my favorite. I liked him. There was another action figure. It was one of the later ones I got. He was called Heavy Duty. He was a black guy. He had a backwards hat on and camouflage pants. And he come with this. It was when they started doing the spring action weapons. As that middle rod's getting hit. I think he may have it. He tugged on it. Is he coming at us? Nope. He tugged on it, but he didn't hook up. Did he get our worm? He did get our worm. We got robbed. One of y'all call the police. Dadgummit. Some of y'all may have had the G.I. Joe called Law and Order, and it was a G.I. Joe action figure that was a policeman, and he come with a dog. But yeah, I liked that G.I. Joe called Heavy Duty. He was a black guy, backwards hat, camouflage pants. And he come with this, I don't even know what you would call it. It was when G.I. Joe started doing the spring action weapons. And it had two of them. Like, he would hold it on the sides and you push a button and it would fire these plastic missiles out. And I was pretty into that one too. Like, that one was really cool. There was another one. His name was Tracker. And he come with an inflatable kayak. And it was just like a little blow-up kayak that you could inflate with your mouth. I had so much fun playing with that one in the creek. Like, the action figure itself, I didn't even really care about. I liked that little plastic kayak because I could play with it in the creek. I took that thing over so many. I would take rocks and stuff and kind of like build little miniature dams in the creek so that I could take that kayak over it. It was so much fun. Those were the days, man. I'm gonna have me a nostalgia day though this winter. Put them things back together. Try to remember how to play with them. And we lose our imagination when we hit puberty. Start thinking about girls, and then the only thing we can imagine is what we're gonna do with them. And it's hard to think about playing with toys and having wrestling figures and having a match or G.I. Joes and having a battle. That's what I used to do, though. I did have some of the vehicles, too. My favorite vehicle was called the Hammerhead, and it looked the front of it looked like a hammerhead shark. And I would take it out to the creek, too, and play with it. Like, it was the Cobra vehicle. It was the bad guy vehicle. But it was a lot of fun because it had wheels. Like, you could do it land and water. And I thought that was cool. I had one of the helicopters. But I didn't have a lot of the vehicles, though. I always wanted that aircraft carrier, man. That thing was like 6 foot long, come in that huge box. I can remember seeing that thing in the store. I always wanted it. And I always wanted the G.I. Joe, I forget what it's called now. It was brown. It was like a fortress. It was brown. I never had it either. I always wanted it. Forgot what that one was called. But that aircraft carrier, holy cow. If you had that as a kid, I want you to know how envious of you I am. Every time me and my mom get to talking about G.I. Joes, I like to bring it up how I never got that as a kid. I like to remind her how I never got it. I'm on this page or group or something, or I don't know, maybe I've spent too much time looking at it and it just pops up on its own now, but when I'm on social media, there's like a retro 80s G.I. Joe page or something. And there'll be action figure pictures and stuff pop up on there, but one of the things that comes up is that they'll share sometimes is pictures of kids from like the 80s when they would be at Christmas or birthday or something, and they'd take a picture, or their parents take a picture of them with their new toys. And sometimes you see these kids and they'd have that aircraft carrier and all these vehicles and G.I. Joes and everything they'd got for birthday or Christmas or whatever. It always strikes that nostalgia chord with me. I'm a sucker for nostalgia. Nostalgia, a good deal, and redheaded women. Those three things get me every time. I'm a sucker for all three. You give me a good deal, even if I don't need it, I'm going to at least consider buying it because it's a good deal. Something nostalgia from my childhood, the 80s, like, you got my attention. A hot redheaded woman walks, even if she ain't hot, if she's just redheaded, I'm going to take a look. You know what I mean? Like, those three things, I'm a sucker for. And all three cost a lot of money at this point. You try to buy a barbecue G.I. Joe action figure to relive your youth, apparently on eBay it's going to cost you $150. A good deal is only a good deal because it's something you don't need, so that's costing you money you shouldn't be spending. And I promise you, if you get a redheaded woman to go out with you, she's going to cost you some money too. And God forbid you get her pregnant, you're going to be paying for her the rest of your life. So be careful out there, fellas. Yeah. When they do these action figures today, they're always $20 when they remake something. I think they're not making them for kids, they're making them for me. They're making them for people my age, people in their 40s that's nostalgic and want to relive their childhood. I guarantee you, when them He-Man figures come out a couple years back, when Netflix made that show, I bet you it wasn't kids buying them, it was adults. It was people my age buying them things up. Look right here, our right rod. Are we finally going to catch something on that right rod? Is it going to happen? Something's tugging on it right there. If I got the camera, can y'all see? I don't know if you can or not. Oh, left rod got hit too. Could we get a double? That would be fun. Better happen soon, I'm hot. The wind has started to blow a little bit, which is welcomed, but it's still miserable hot even with the wind blowing. That right rod keeps getting messed with. I hope it ain't another turtle. Left rod here. Left rod's getting pulled a little more. I think the left and right rod may have something on them right now. This one I'm pretty sure does. I don't think we want whatever this is. It's either another turtle or a channel kitten. And I can't tell. Channel kitten. Tiny one. I want to pick up on this other one over here too. Tell you what, I'm gonna set him back a second. We got something. It ain't gonna be no carp. It's either another channel cat or a turtle. And I think we're gonna catch this stick right here too, because my line's coming right across it. Okay, there it goes. Oh man, we got another turtle, y'all. Is he a slider? Okay, he is, good. Let's land our turtle first. The channel cat can wait. Come here, turtle. Come on, little buddy. I got you. This one here is a bright green. He's pretty. Let's see what you've done to yourself here. I knew something was going on with that rod. Let me give you a little slack here so I can see. Okay. Yeah, you lay there upside down. Maybe that'll help you be calm. Easy peasy, that can come right out. Here, y'all set up here a minute. We're gonna show you this turtle right here too. Come here, buddy. This one here's got some, look at his neck right there. That one's brighter yellow green. You're a pretty good looking turtle, you know it? Anybody ever told you that before? He says mama tells him he's handsome all the time. Look at them feet. I want to show you them claws. You see them claws right there? Look at them things. They can tear some fish apart, buddy. All right. This channel cat over here. You want to bite a channel cat? I'll give you a bite of this thing if you want it. Let me see that paw again. You tear a chunk out of that channel cat hide for me, okay? Go on with yourself. All right. Come here, channel cat. These things are always a pest. I could keep this one. This one's, but the thing is, we ain't got no carp in there. We didn't keep a carp today. So it ain't like I could take this channel cat and my one skipjack and one white bass and go catfishing tomorrow. I'm gonna let him go, I guess. If you open your mouth, I'm gonna let you go, channel cat. I need you to open that mouth so I can get the hook out. Hey. Give me a hook. Boy, and channel cats are harder to get the hook out of than a turtle. That ought to tell you how ornery them things are. Yeah. I don't think, at this point, I don't think we're going to be catfishing tomorrow, folks. I don't think it's going to happen because I'm going to fish here a little while longer, man. I need to give it 20, 30 more minutes. I'm hot. And I don't know, as few carp as we've got today, I don't know if we're going to get another one or not. At least not while I'm out here anyway. And I'm not going to wait around all day for the bite that may not come, and the fact that if we do catch another carp, how big's it going to be? You know, like, is it going to be one that I want to fool with? I was really hoping to get a smaller one today. 3 pounds, 5 pound range. Like the ones that we've actually landed they've been above that. Which for fun purposes, I mean, great, you know. I mean, I certainly want to catch them as big as possible. But for bait purposes, I would like them to be significantly smaller, so I guess I'll be doing some other kind of fishing tomorrow, unless we just get lucky here in the next little while. I'll throw this one back out over here. Got that a little bit to the right of where I wanted it to, but whatevs. We'll make it work. Yeah, folks, it's miserable hot today. I think next week we're supposed to have a little break in this heat. I think it's going to be in the 80s instead of the 90s. I actually think tomorrow's the last day in the 90s for at least what the current forecast says. So hopefully by the time this video comes out, wherever you're at, hopefully there's a break in the heat. Right now I think I'm about 2 weeks ahead on videos, right thereabouts. So when you're seeing this video, it was probably filmed 2 weeks before you're seeing it. I don't know what today is, August something or another. But it's just that time of year, man. It's East Tennessee weather. It's hot, it's humid. As much as I don't like being hot, I'd much rather be hot than be cold. So it could be worse. About 4 or 5 months from now, I'll be dreaming of days like today. I can come out here and fish from sunrise till 10, 11 o'clock and catch my fish, have a good time. I'll be dreaming of it. Just like dreaming of a day in years past where a child could go to Walmart and get them a G.I. Joe for $1.99. All right, we got 3 lines out there again. These fish better come on, man. It's hot. I'm running out of battery too, looks like. I think, and this has been, I've told this before, but like most of my trips, 4 to 5 hours on average. If a day's really good, I might stay out there an extra hour, 6 hours. That's my normal trip, right? But when I started kind of leaning into these unedited videos and doing that all the time, my camera battery pack and the internal battery in the camera, you get about 4 total hours of runtime. Usually by 3 hours and 50 minutes, 3 hours, 55 minutes, like my battery's about dead, like it's running on fumes. And so I've noticed that while my trips used to run a little bit longer than that sometimes, 5, maybe 6 hours on a good day, now when the camera battery dies, most days for me, that's time to go home. Yeah. So it's a good thing my camera battery at least makes it to 4 hours, because if it only lasted 2 hours, my trips might be even shorter. But most of the time though, I mean, if you get out and you fish in the morning hours, you're gonna get that sunrise bite. By the time you're 4 or 5 hours into your trip, like the bite's over most of the time, or it's at least winded down. Now carp can be a little different. They seem to be more willing to bite later on into the morning if they're there. And certainly ultralight fishing, you can do that. When you're just beating the banks, throwing them gulp minnows, man, you can do that and catch fish all day long. But when it comes to catfish, it's more peak feeding times, it seems like. And so usually those feeding windows don't last. Some days in the spring and the fall, you'll have really productive days, and the bite will just seem to go on all day. But most of the time, it's going to be a 30-minute, hour window, maybe 2 hours if things are going really well. And then it's kind of over for a while. And you might get just an occasional fish here and there, but the bulk of the action will kind of all take place around the same time. And oftentimes that's dawn and dusk. And so if you plan your trips around that, you can have a very productive session on limited time on the water. I think it was the last video, I actually think I was kind of going into that. If you could clone yourself and put yourself in a tournament where each of you have 12 hours and one of you is going to fish 12 consecutive hours, and one of you can take that 12 hours and divide it up and maybe fish 3 hours today, 4 hours tomorrow, divide it up over multiple days, but hit those peak times. I'm like, man, if I could clone myself, one me fishes for 12 straight hours, the other me fishes for 3 hours a day for 4 days, but it's all morning sessions or dusk or something. There might be one day where the 12-hour session is going to dominate, but if you had that tournament 10 times, the me who is fishing 3 or 4 days compared to that one long session, the me that's dividing it up and hitting those peak times is going to dominate 9 out of 10 times. There'll be that one day where the bite's just on all day long or something like that, that's going to happen. But you run that experiment 9 out of 10 times, 9 out of 10, putting less hours during a more productive period is going to be more beneficial than just longevity over one day. Now, the flip side of that coin is, if you only have 1 or 2 or 3 days a month to fish, then you better maximize your time on the water those days. You take a creek mouth, for instance. I don't know when fish are going to move in or out of there. I don't have a clue. Now, I know dawn and dusk is more likely that that's going to happen just because of those feeding windows. But they could come in any hour of the day. In that situation, if you've only got 1 or 2 days a month to fish, and you have an opportunity to put in 12 hours or more onto a spot, the longer you could put into a place like that where fish are going to move through, well, then it's more likely that you're going to catch them. Right? I mean, it's just... But in the situation I'm talking about, where you can either choose one day, 12-hour session on a spot, or let me hit that spot for 3 hours at a time over 4 days, I'm gonna choose to hit it 3 hours at a time for four days. And if I'm betting money on who's going to win a tournament like that, I'm taking the person hitting multiple days versus one day at a longer time period. That's just me. That's my opinion on it. That's my thoughts just from the experience I've had. So do with it what you will, but I truly believe that. I'm not blowing smoke up your butt right now. Like, I believe if I could clone myself, the me fishing multiple sessions would dominate the me fishing one long session. That would be an interesting thing to do, though. Like, if you could get somebody to take that bet with you. And it would need to be somebody of... It would be tough to do, because, I mean, to run that experiment effectively, it would need to be comparable skill level. Because if you get somebody that's really good and give them 12 straight hours, and you take somebody else that ain't any good, you could give them a month and they're not going to catch the fish that one person is going to catch in one day. You know, it's not they say time is the great equalizer, but it's only if you know what you're doing. You know what I mean? If you put a bunch of time in or a bunch of days into a place where there ain't no fish, you ain't gonna catch nothing. Boy, it's hot, y'all. It's getting pretty miserable out here. That sun is just beating down. There's no shade here where I'm at now. The sun's too high up. I wonder. I wouldn't want to go back further in here to that shade because of the debris and how shallow it is. I wonder if I couldn't have maybe got up there instead on that part of the creek, because it looks like it's still more shaded there. And I could have cast out this way to this direction. This here gives me more opportunities to fish more rods where I'm set up here. I could have maybe probably done 2 rods effectively up in there, but we would have been shaded. And considering that 1 rod ain't got nothing but a turtle anyway, we clearly only needed 2 rods today. Honestly, you look at most of my carp trips, most of the action ends up coming on 1 or 2 rods. I mean, I've used up to 4 rods before, but most of it will end up coming on 1 or 2 rods. Sorry if I'm gulping on the microphone right now, y'all. I need to do a better job of staying hydrated on these hot summer days. I don't like to be gulping. Y'all gave me such a complex back when I was doing edited videos. I'd oftentimes carry snacks with me. And it never failed. I'd be eating something and a fish would hit and I'd have a mouthful. I'd be chewing on something, or I used to like sunflower seeds. Y'all ruined me from eating sunflower seeds. But I'd have a mouthful of sunflower seeds and a fish would hit and I'd have to spit them out or something. And people gave me such a damn complex about chewing on the camera and the microphone that I don't eat in front of you no more. And hell, I need to be staying hydrated, and I'm thinking about if I'm gulping too loud. It's all cause y'all giving me hell for trying to eat. I couldn't help if fish was gonna bite when I had a mouthful. It usually helps fish to bite when you got something in your mouth. If you're trying to eat, or if you're standing up in the kayak trying to pee, that's always when a fish is gonna hit. There's a bird right up there. Look at that bird. Is that a buzzard? He's looking for something. He probably smells me baking in this sun. Dang buzzard. There's another one up there. There's 2 of them up there. I'm still planning on getting me a hawk at some point. I'm gonna get into that falconry stuff. It's gonna happen. I may not want to get hold of that thing, but I'm gonna get hold of it at some point. You mark my words. It's gonna happen. I don't think we're gonna get no more fish here, y'all. I don't think we're gonna get no more carp. Never did get that damn buffalo. We seen him 3 times. Couldn't get him. Not with the pineapple, not with the soybean meal, not with the lime jello. I think these people telling me their buffalo recipes in the comment box is just getting lucky. I think them buffalo would have eaten whatever they had out. But they ain't been into it today. At least not the one that we've seen. But we got that mirror carp though. That mirror carp was badass. Very cool. That made my day right there. If that had been the only fish we caught today, I'd have still rolled out of here happy today. I do think I'm about to roll out of here in a minute though, y'all. I'm hot. It is miserable. Air conditioner's calling my name. Poor Daphne too. I feel bad for Daphne. It's been so hot lately. You know, by the time I get home, it's just the sun's baking everything, and it stays hot all day, and like she wants to play. She's very high energy, but you can't take her out there when it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon and it's 90 plus degrees and it feels like it's over 100 and the humidity's so high. You just can't, I feel bad about running her that hard in those conditions, but she wants to play so bad. It's just, it just needs to cool off just a little bit. Hopefully next week when we get them 80s, it's still gonna be hot, but it'll hopefully feel cooler compared to what we've been going through. Yeah, y'all, I think I'm about to call it. I think I'm about to get out of here. It's been fun today, y'all. It was fun until that sun got up over them trees anyway. We got us a big mirror carp though. One of, if not the biggest mirror carp that I've got thus far. First one in a couple months, so that's awesome. Unfortunately, our bait is, we just ain't going catfish tomorrow. I ain't going out there with 2 baits. Because the bite I've been on, I'd be out of bait in 30 minutes, that's unfortunate. I just don't know where the skipjack have gone. I don't know where the white bass have gone. I'm off them right now. I'm just not on them. I can't catch a carp that's reasonable size. So, I don't know. I may go ultralight fishing tomorrow, maybe. And maybe what I do in the morning, just get out there, have some fun with that. Maybe I keep some bluegill or something. Well, I don't want to keep them because then tomorrow's Friday and I ain't catfishing the weekend, so we'll see. I may go ultralight fishing anyway though, just for fun, just to get out there and mess around, have a good time. So anyway, I don't know. The next trip, maybe it'll be an ultralight video, maybe it'll be a catfish video, not filmed tomorrow, but maybe one. Maybe it'll be another carp trip. You never can tell. When y'all show up to fish with me, you never know what we're going to end up doing. But what we always going to do is have fun and tear stuff up like we did with our rigs earlier. What a mess that fish caused. But anyway, it's all in good fun. We had us a good day. We had us some fun, but it's time to go, y'all. I'm gonna go home, eat some lunch, and I'm gonna hit that air conditioner the rest of the afternoon. I'll see you next time. Thanks for coming with me today.